Sheridan along with Kevin Conaway, and we are so excited for the world broadcast premiere of Our Town Ebensburg. It's stories told by your friends and neighbors in Evansburg. In fact, many of them are here in the WPSU studios tonight to celebrate stories from your hometown. Right, Kevin?
That's right. And if you have friends or loved ones that have moved away, you know what? They can watch tonight, too, online at WPSU.org/live. So tell them, call them, get them to check it out. Right, Whitney?
That's right. We are going to learn all about the Dauntless Volunteer Fire Department. We are going to learn about the local Girl Scouts, visit the local food scene in Evansburg, and so much more. It's all coming your way on Our Town Ebensburg, the world broadcast premiere.
That's right. Enjoy the premiere parties.
Right,
absolutely.
Hi, I'm Rady Dasco, Mayor of Evansburg. Welcome to Our Town.
Welcome to Ebensburg, Pennsylvania. Located in the heart of the Alleghenies in Cambria County, Ebensburg is an area rich in history and local pride. Join us as residents show and tell everything that makes their community a great hometown. Your friends and neighbors welcome you to Our Town Ebensburg. Support for Our Town Ebensburg comes from Ebensburg Borough, serving as the seat of government for Cambria County, a residential community with a vibrant downtown, offering a host of recreational activities and annual events, committed to providing a safe, clean community with a distinctive quality of life. EvansburgPA.com. St. Francis University, offering more than 50 programs of study, hundreds of student activities, and 22 Division I athletic teams. Reach higher, go far. Information available at francis.edu. Martin Oil Company and Martin General Stores, proudly serving central Pennsylvania for over 50 years. Bishop Carroll Catholic High School, home of the Huskies, challenging students to strive for excellence in spirit, heart, mind, and body. Information at bishopcarroll.com. Mount Aloysius College, with students, staff, and faculty all proud to be a part of life in Evansburg and the Southern Allegheny region. Information at mtaloy.edu. State Farm Agent Kim Springer, 301 East High Street, offering auto, home, life, and financial services. Information at 472-9131. McAnany Brothers, a family-owned distributor to grocery and convenience stores, located in Evansburg since 1997 and proud to employ 164 people at its Evansburg location. And from viewers like you, thank you.
My name's John Hawksworth. I'm with the Dauntless Fire Company here in Evansburg. Our fire department started in 1836. The original fire station back in the 1800s was on the corner of Cherry and Sample. That was torn down. A borough building was put there that we shared with the borough and the fire department. There was a movie theater next door that we purchased, and we made that into our fire station and still kept the old one on Cherry and Sample. And we since tore it down and added on to our new building. So we've been in the same location since 1800s. And we have the original squirt that was purchased for $350 by the community who thought that they needed a fire department here in Evansburg. We've gone from buckets to the hand pump to in 1910 we had a major fire that in the wintertime our engine blew up. And we had to train an engine up from El Tuna in Johnstown, and they actually used dynamite from the mines to blow up a building to try to stop the fire. And unfortunately, that didn't work. It just spread the fire. But they tried. That's where the name Dauntless came from. We were called the Evansburg Hydraulic Company. We were the Friendship Fire Department. Then the article in the paper in 1910 was the Dauntless Volunteers braved the weather to fight the fire. We were very fortunate that local businesses let their people leave to become firefighters. We've been fortunate to have probably a lot of the prominent judges, lawyers, business people from the community have signed our book one time or another. Many families in our fire department. My father had over 50 years there, and my son served here and now has moved on to a career in firefighting. I'm the historian for the fire department, also a Pennsylvania State Fire instructor. I teach vehicle rescue and I teach junior firefighters. My job as an old firefighter is to teach young firefighters how to become an old firefighter. It's fun. A lot of people say it's because you help the community and everything, but it's fun. My best friends are all firemen. Everything I do is around the fire department. Evansburg is just a great little community. Grew up here all my life. My father was a councilman here for 30-some years. I was a part-time police officer here in town. It's just been a great place to raise a family. Just a nice little community.
My name is Danae Koss. I am the Community Development Director for Evansburg Borough, and I'm here to talk about some of the events that happen throughout the community throughout the year. Evansburg Dickens of a Christmas happens the first weekend in December every year, and it's one of those events that the whole community gets involved in. We have a light-up ceremony Friday evening at Kimball Park, where the mayor proclaims the start of the Dickens weekend. Throughout the rest of the weekend, there are events happening all over town. There's a Christmas parade Saturday morning, breakfast with Santa, photos with Santa, craft fairs, there's horse and carriage rides, ice carvings in Penn Park. So there's really something for everyone. Wheels and Wings is our motorcycle, car, and truck show. It happens every June in conjunction with the Johnstown Thunder in the Valley Festival. We have around 200 cars, trucks, motorcycles that come in and line the streets of Evansburg, and they're all competing for the titles, class titles, and best in show titles. A lot of our local businesses actually sponsor trophies and awards. The event also includes a wing-off competition with around 20 vendors from all over the area that come and compete for the best wings title. This is our 10th year for Wheels and Wings, so we're excited about that. Evansburg Homecoming Weekend is always held the last weekend of July. Evansburg Homecoming Weekend kicks off on Friday night with an event called the Downtown Shutdown, and that is really a street party in the middle of town. We close off several blocks, set up a band, and we have local bars and restaurants participating in promoting specials and events and those kinds of things, and it's really just a fun event for everyone to come out and enjoy. And then Saturday starts a full day of events for the homecoming celebration. We have a youth fishing derby at Lake Rowena, a farmer's market, we have a community-wide yard sale. There's tons of events through town and a lot of different organizations get involved. Later in the day, the grounds of Lake Rowena are filled with local residents and out-of-town residents that are coming back to celebrate homecoming. Families take the opportunity to have reunions. High school reunions are also held. Friends gather, and we close the night with live music and a great fireworks show over Lake Rowena. Potato Fest is Evansburg's longest running and largest event. It celebrates the potato. It celebrates the potato growers and the fact that Cambria County is the second largest supplier of potatoes in the state. We've got live music happening all through the day in different locations through our downtown area. We've got different kids events set up throughout the area. We've got vendors selling all types of potato products, potato candy, pizza, breads, potato pancakes, anything you can think of, we have it at Potato Fest. The food is definitely my favorite thing. It's also just nice to see the community come together for all of the events. It's really the people of Evansburg, our mayor, our borough council, committees, volunteers, our local businesses, and our residents who attend. Those are the people that make it happen year after year, and that's the reason that the events have been so successful.
My name is Julie Feather, and I am here to feature the local food scene of Evansburg, Pennsylvania. After living in Oregon for 14 years, I've moved back to my hometown of Evansburg, and I have always loved food. When I was a child growing up, there are many wonderful local establishments that had foods that just were so warm to my heart. And coming back now and living in Evansburg, I've discovered that it's still a wonderful, eclectic array of dining establishments, legendary establishments that are still going strong. Clark Powell's is the classic Evansburg establishment. It's very family-style, family-owned. Thursday is all-day pizza bar day. They're famous for their pizzas. My favorite is pepperoni onion with a side of anchovies. It's a great place for salads, soups. It's a wonderful place for lunch and for dinner. Everyday Gourmet is owned by Chef Charles and his wife Mindy Heinrich. It was Chef Charles's lifelong dream to own a restaurant, and Everyday Gourmet has been here for a little over 3 years, I believe. They serve great breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Tuesday night is their famous trivia night that has become very popular. Many local celebrities, as I like to call them, have coffee there, meet in the morning. So Everyday Gourmet has a true sense of community and bringing people to the table. Amici's Restaurant, very upscale dining Italian fare, locally owned by Chris and his father, Nick Persio. Amici's has a wonderful, beautiful decor, handmade pastas, known for their seafoods, and it is a destination restaurant for travelers coming up through Pittsburgh, and a lot of people from Johnstown and Altoona come to visit Amici's. Great young, talented chefs. I've had the honor of working there as a pastry chef myself. It's just a wonderful bar dining atmosphere for a special night. A lot of Ebensburgers will go there for an anniversary, a birthday dinner, or the prom. Off the Rack is located off of 22 in the Mini Mall, and that is owned by a fellow classmate of mine from Central Cambria in 1985, Bobby Kohler. Great place for steaks, steak salads. Their French onion soup is divine, and they have a wonderful bar scene as well. Costa's Restaurant, also in the Mini Mall, owned by Rick Polchito. Costa's has been there for about 33 years. It's a wonderful community establishment, especially for churchgoers to go for brunch and breakfast. They have daily dinner specials, and they are particularly known for their traditional Belgian waffles. Ebensburg Beer and Sandwich Express is locally owned by Dan Nedreski and his family. He is a car lover, and so the whole decor in E-Base, as we like to call it here in Ebensburg, is focused on cars and a lot of memorabilia about cars. Penn Gables, classic Ebensburg. They're celebrating their 80th anniversary here in 2014, and it has been owned by the Finn family for those 80 years. So there's a lot of history here. When I was a kid, I would see the Ebensburg community come together, the Highway Diner, the old Valley Dairy, or going to Clark Powell's. You knew everybody that was sitting next to you. So being a part of the food community now, I feel closer than ever. I always knew that I would come back home. I just didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know why. And I was afraid that I wouldn't necessarily fit in anymore, but I've reconnected back with the community. I've become more a part of the community by working at Amici's. It's great to have that social connection, that professional connection, and of course that familial connection with the town that I love and that I grew up in.
My name is Dave Huber. I'm the president of the Cambria County Historical Society, and I'm going to take you on a little tour of the A.W. Buck House, which is the headquarters for the Cambria County Historical Society. The A.W. Buck House was built in the same year that the Johnstown flood happened, so 1889, and it's 15 rooms. What we really like in the house is the woodwork. We never knew who the architect was for the Buck House here. Last year, one of our board members was down in Pittsburgh, and he found a book of 1890s blueprints. There's probably 200 blueprints in the book, so he found our blueprints in there. So that told us Mr. Buck just went and he bought the blueprints for $60. The house has only ever belonged to 3 different groups, and that was the Buck family, and they lived here from 1889 to 1920, and then it became a convent for the Sisters of St. Joseph, and they lived in it up until 1990, and then we've been in here since that date. When we moved in 1990, we weren't financially able to do anything until 2000, and then we did almost a complete restoration inside the house, and then in 2008, we did the landscaping. Last year, we did the Save Our Porch campaign, and we completely restored our front porch. On Victorian houses, porches are the hardest thing to keep up. When Dickens of a Christmas started, this was kind of a natural setting to have tea parties, and we could accommodate about 40 people at the tea party, and we always had high school seniors from northern Cambria that would volunteer to be the maids and the butlers and that kind of thing. And we're always kind of working to try to have something a little different every year. Bill Clinton was the first president to ever visit Ebensburg. Benjamin Harrison was supposed to come to Ebensburg. He actually never made it. Bill Clinton was here in 2008 campaigning for Hillary, and he spoke off of the front porch here. There was quite a few people here to listen to what he had to say. Fremont McHenrick, he's our past president. He's 91 years old, and we had him come in and play on the organ in the parlor here.
I learned to play the organ from my father, Judge Ivan McHenrick, who was a church organist.
He's just a character around town. He plays for his church. He plays at almost any event that'll ask him. He's just an all-around great guy. We're not a historic house, per se. We don't have a room set up like a living room and a bedroom and that kind of displays. What we have is a lot of genealogies, and we have a great research library. We also give tours, and we have all kinds of exhibits. Basically, right now, we have exhibits, say, from the 1800s up to the 1960s. The Smithsonian has what they call America's Attic. So I've always kind of been trying to play around with that idea and using our society here as Cambria County's attic. We invite everybody to come in and look around.
My name is Sandra Balo, and I am a Girl Scout leader and the service area manager for Girl Scouts Western Pennsylvania for the Ebensburg area. I've been involved for the past 15 years. I have 2 daughters that have participated in Girl Scouts, and being a leader and working with the girls has probably been the best thing that I've done to become part of the Ebensburg community. The earliest you can start being a Girl Scout is 5 years old. You're a daisy. And they're so cute, and they love everything. And they earn their petals in Girl Scouts, and that's part of the Girl Scout law. And so you take them through the community, and you learn about the library, and you learn about the fire department and the police department, and how those parts of the community affect their lives and what they can do to make their community better by understanding that. And then they become brownies and juniors and cadets, and they earn badges. And through that, they take the parts of the law and the promise, and they figure out how their community will benefit from their skills that they learn. And they take that forward through life. The Girl Scout promise is our foundation. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times and live by the Girl Scout law. Cookies are great. They're our biggest fundraiser, and it's our identity, which is wonderful. And it teaches the girls skills, selling cookies. It teaches them to communicate and finances and to set goals about what they want to do with the money that they earn. It's more than just cookies. Girl Scouts is to teach girls to be leaders, to teach them skills, public speaking, service-oriented, crafts, to take the skills that they've been given and to make them better. And as they grow, to make the world around them a better place. I am so rewarded to see these young ladies take those skills and become such wonderful leaders. They will make their world better by having Girl Scouts in their lives.
Hi, my name's Rebecca Corrin, Becky Corrin. They know me around here. We moved to Ebensburg from the Pittsburgh area in 1990, and I'm here to tell the story of why we stayed, why Ebensburg became our hometown. My husband was offered the job of principal at Bishop Carroll High School. I was able to transfer with my job, and the girls would have an opportunity to go to school in an area that the village could help raise them too. As the parent of 3 daughters, we saw that Ebensburg was an area of great emphasis on education. In this very short radius, maybe 10 miles, there were 3 different high schools, a public and 2 non-public high schools. Mount Aloysius, St. Francis, University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown. You go a little bit further and you have Penn State Altoona, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Automatically, when you have children, you have to get involved in the community. They were in t-ball, baseball, basketball all summer long. There's activities down in the fields. They have memories and stories that go on forever. We have a lot of health and wellness things have evolved along the way. The trail, people walking, there's a running club here, a tennis club's been developed, the Young People's Community Center. We have numerous picnics and events. But I think the opportunities that they had as females were just so thrilling to me. All of our events in there, you'll see women stepping up to the plate. Women are integral to all of the running and decision-making and the work that's being done here to keep this such a strong community. And I think all my girls now are involved as they become young women in different activities and see that they need to take leadership roles and work too. I can't tell you how important it is to have neighbors that whenever you meet them, you're going to have great conversations with them. They support us. Like my husband went to school, got extended degrees, and during that time, people would have us over for dinner. They would bring dinner to us, you know. The amount of community support and goodwill, and that is pretty intense and comforting. We had the opportunity to move to Pittsburgh. We thought we were going to move, and we made the decision that we couldn't find a community that would be as supportive and as comfortable as we did with Ebensburg. So that's why it became our hometown. We didn't think it was going to be forever, and it's marking a quarter of a century here soon that we've been here, and we intend to stay.
There's more to come as we meet the women of the Moose, sample some of the local sweets in town, and learn how some elementary students are supporting our troops. Now, show your support for WPSU in Ebensburg by making a pledge. Thanks!
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Our Town Ebensburg here on your public TV station, WPSU. Good evening, I'm Greg Peterson of the WPSU staff, asking you to make a pledge right now, 1-800-245-9779. We've got a lot of great programming to come. We have stuff on Twitter. If you want to make a comment about the show on Twitter, it's hashtag OT Ebensburg, and you can see that up in the corner up here. No, that corner up here. This corner right there. So call right now, make your pledge. They were talking about Potato Fest, but we want to talk about pledges and your support for your public TV station. That's what the Our Town Project is all about, us working with the communities that we serve. Call with your pledge at 800-245-9779 or go online to WPSU.org. To tell you about some of the great thank you gifts we have in line, or actually the thank you gift we have in line for you, here's Lindsay Whistle.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Whistle. I'm a producer at the station. Also had the extreme pleasure of working on Our Town Ebensburg, getting to go into this wonderful town, hear about these stories firsthand that now you're experiencing. And as Greg said, if you want to call in and make that pledge of support, you can experience it as much as you want. $75 gets you a DVD you can watch over and over again. $120 pledge gets you 2 DVDs. Maybe you keep one, give one to a friend or a neighbor or a family member so you can share the magic of Our Town Ebensburg. All these great stories, so much more coming up. We've got, as we said, Mid's Candy, who doesn't love chocolate? We've got the Ghost Town Trail, Evansburg Library, all kinds of great stories coming up. We've got our phones open. Our wonderful volunteers came in tonight to take your call. There's plenty of time. It only takes a few moments to make that call and make that pledge of support and get your very own copy of Our Town Ebensburg to enjoy and to know that you help support programs like this, the Our Town series that go into communities, tell real Pennsylvania stories, all through viewer support from people like you. So don't wait, 1-800-245-9779.
I want to thank Amy Corin from Baltimore for being the first contribution that we have around Our Town Ebensburg tonight. And Amy, I've got to wonder if some of your family members are joining us here in the studio tonight. Like, I don't know, Chris and Becky who are here. We've seen Becky's story. We're going to see Chris's a little bit later because we've got to hear from the Women of the Moose. And I understand that the Women of the Moose are having a screening party tonight, a premiere party, and that there are a couple premiere parties happening in Ebensburg tonight. And there's Chrissy right there. And I understand that the Women of the Moose are having a premiere party and also Pour on Center as well. So we're giving shout outs to them and we want to hear from you guys. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call to show your support for great local stories that you find only on your local public television station, WPSU. I'm Whitney Sheridan, and it was such a privilege to work with the folks in Ebensburg Ebensburg to be able to tell all these stories that we're seeing come to life tonight on this program. Give us a call, though, and show your support right now. 1-800-245-9779. Remember, a contribution of $75. We would love to send a copy of tonight's program to you on DVD, and there are some great bonus features on this as well. $120 contribution, and we'll send you 2 of those DVDs. But it's so important to step up and be counted, just like Amy Corin, who is watching from Baltimore. 1-800-245-9779. Right, Greg?
That's right. If you have friends who have moved away and you forgot to tell them, call them up right now. Tell them to go to WPSU.org/live. They can watch the show tonight and all the pledge breaks. They can call in, or they can go to WPSU.org while they're watching anyway and make their pledge. The Our Town Project is a project we started in 1996 to connect us with the communities we serve. The dollars go to purchase, produce, and broadcast the programs that you watch on your public TV station, WPSU. We've partnered with the Evansburg community. In fact, the people answering the phones behind me tonight are from Evansburg. They're the people who help put this show together, and they're donating their time tonight. They're Seal with her hat on. So, you know, she's going to have, we got 20 hats tonight you're going to wear, Seal? No, just one. She has one hat. Okay. 1-800-245-9779. Make your pledge to support public television and all the great programming that you see. Not just the Our Town Project, but you support all the kids programming like Sesame Street and Dinosaur Train and Cat in the Hat. All the great programs, all the documentaries like Nova and Nature and Independent Lens. The news programming like the PBS NewsHour and Washington Week in Review. All these programs come to you thanks to your generosity, because the single largest source of income for public television is from viewers like you. 800-245-9779 is the number you can call for a $75 pledge. We will send you a copy of tonight's program, Our Town Ebensburg, as a way of saying thanks. And for $120, we can send you 2, keep one, and send one away as a gift. And you put that in your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. Call now, make your pledge, support your public TV station. Lindsay?
There is still time to make that pledge before we get back to more Our Town Ebensburg. We have some phones ringing, but there are plenty of volunteers here, and it really doesn't take very long. You call in, they ask you a few short questions, give your information, and then you get that DVD or those 2 DVDs or however many DVDs to take home to share the magic of Our Town Ebensburg. 1-800-245-9779. That's the number. We got some more phones ringing. You can also go online, WPSU.org. Make your pledge that way. Again, does not take long to support public television, to keep programs like Our Town, like the whole Our Town series going. This is local programming, gets to the heart of our Pennsylvania communities, gets to tell stories by the people who know that town. And I love it because even living in Pennsylvania, you might not know all the great things right around you. Maybe you grew up in Ebensburg, maybe you've never been there, but you learned something. So many of the Our Towns have taught me great things to do in our area, and they have allowed me to share this community and the state with other people who maybe have never been there. So it's really a great program. There's lots more coming up, but it's only made possible through your continued support through those pledges. So we want to hear those phones ringing. 1-800-245-9779.
You know, programs like Our Town Ebensburg really remind us what's at the heart of our communities. And Ebensburg is really a community that cares about its schools and its children. And we are really seeing that in this program. You know, Becky Corin talked so much about how wonderful this community is, about what it does for the children and how great the school systems are in Ebensburg. We are going to see so much more about Ebensburg's children in this show coming up. You know, Sam Pilcher and Molly Pilcher, 2 young children, did stories for this show. They're here in the studio tonight answering phones. We've got stories from some of the local area schools coming up in the program. Stay tuned for that. But Ebensburg really is a community that cares about its youth, and we're seeing that in tonight's program. And this is a community that really rallies together around local stories. And that was why when we came to Ebensburg to produce the program. Everybody really came forward and wanted to be a part of it. Now we're asking you to come forward and support it at 1-800-245-9779. Show your support right now in any amount, because it goes so far to help maintain and preserve those local stories, the heritage of our communities. 1-800-245-9779. Remember, a $75 contribution. We would love to thank you with a copy of tonight's program on DVD with those great bonus features. $120 contribution will send you 2 of those DVDs. But it's just great to step up and be counted, and we'll be sure to thank you on air, and you can let everyone know that you were a part of tonight's celebration. Right, Greg?
Who, me? Oh, hi, I'm Greg Peterson. Thanks for tuning in. We have a phone call at the VFW from Bob Lakita? Anybody help me out back there with the pronunciation? What? Latica. Okay, thanks, Bob, from Ebensburg, called in a pledge. That's why you're here, to correct us when we mispronounce names. 1-800-245-9779. Not only do we have people from Ebensburg answering the phones, but we have people in the studio audience here watching tonight. So, you know, we'll ask them, because we're going to slaughter names. We're really, really sorry. 1-800-245-9779. You know, not only does an angel get its wings when we hear a bell, but we get a friend for public television. And that's what we're doing today. We're trying to raise friends for public TV, trying to make that connection with the communities that we serve. Only your public television station does that on a regular, consistent basis. We've been doing the Our Town Project since 1996. This is the 75th or 76th? 76th production of the Our Town Project. I mean, I started, but I lost track many moons ago of how many. 1-800-245, I can't count that high. 1-800-245-9779. We can count on you for your pledge, though. If you call right now, $75, we'll send you a DVD copy of the show you're watching tonight, Our Town Ebensburg, and for $120, we can send you 2 copies. It is our way of saying thanks for your membership in your public TV station, WPSU. Lindsay?
We have another pledge, another supporter of public television, another supporter of the Our Town series that we want to give a special thank you to, Michelle Corby from State College. Thank you so much. There's another one. There is still time for you to make your pledge to support these kinds of programs like the Our Town series. 1-800-245-9779. These programs that really are the heart of, I mean, public television is the heart of television, and these types of shows like Our Town are the heart of public television. So there's nothing but heart here. All this wonderful energy in the studio. I hope you're picking up on all these people who came out to support public television, to support our town, support their town, Ebensburg. So if you're maybe an Ebensburg native, or maybe you've never been there but you're curious to know more, 1-800-245-9779, that $75 pledge. You get a DVD of tonight's program. It's a $75 pledge. $120, you get 2 DVDs of Our Town Ebensburg. Or maybe you're a new watcher to WPSU and you just want to start with that basic membership. $40 pledge, you get to the basic membership, you receive the guide, you can hear about all of these great programs made available through your contribution to public television, through your support. Again, 1-800-245-9779. We have phones open, volunteers ready and waiting to take your call before we get back to the show. There is still time. I promise you have time to get that pledge in and then still get off the phone in time to enjoy the rest of Our Town Ebensburg coming up soon. Or you can go online, WPSU.org. Don't wait. If you're like me, you make a note, okay, I'm going to call later. Call now. It does not take long, and make that pledge of support to public television.
Hey, women of the Moose, your story's coming up. Just wait. I cannot wait for you to see it. And I know you're watching and you're having a premiere party, so we want to hear from you. 1-800-245-9779. But that's not the only story. There are so many more coming your way. Sam Pilcher's going to take us on a tour of the Ghost Town Trail, and his sister Molly is going to show us the local library, and Paul Seymour is going to tell us all about the music theater program, the high school. And what else do we got coming your way? Well, we're going to learn about mids, candies, and gifts. And Phil Brulia is going to talk to us about the local art scene. And there are so many more stories coming your way from Our Town Ebensburg. But there is time for you to give us a call at 1-800-245-9779. You know, when we came into Ebensburg to start hearing about the story ideas that everyone had when they were coming forward, you know, of course, every community has the great stories that make up every community at the heart of it. Our local schools, our volunteer fire companies, our local churches and our history. But then there were some great unique stories that came forward too, and it's so exciting to see all of them come together and form the story of Ebensburg tonight. And as we're seeing it all unfold tonight in the broadcast premiere, it's exciting to see all of you support it at 1-800-245-9779. Give us a call and be a part of it. Be a supporter, be a producer, because you're making it possible right now when you give us a call or go online and support it at WPSU.org. I want to remind you, your $75 contribution, we would love to thank you with a copy of tonight's program on DVD. And there are some great bonus features on that DVD too. Your $120 contribution, we would send you 2 copies of the DVD, but it's just so special to step up and be counted and be among one of the folks who made tonight's whole broadcast possible. 1-800-245-9779. Right, Greg?
We have one phone line open. Sorry, I lied. All the phones are busy right now. Wait a second. Write down the number, 800-245-9779. Wait about a minute or so, then the lines will come open. We have an anonymous pledge here for $75 from Ebensburg. We have a pledge from Mary Kay, and I think it's Dan Sessner of Ebensburg. Thank you very much. It's either Dan or Don. I can't read the handwriting. And then also another anonymous pledge from, wait a second, I can't say, from Johnstown. Okay. In Cambria County, 1-800-245-9779. People calling in, making their membership pledge to their public TV station, WPSU. We're here tonight to raise the dollars it takes to purchase programs, to produce programs, and to broadcast programs. We purchase programs. We spend about $1.3 million every year on the programming that you watch. It's a cooperative. All the stations pay their fair share. Then we produce programs like our Water Blues documentary, like our Conversations Live, like our Conversations programs. And then we broadcast them. There's a technical infrastructure that has to get the signal out. So that's where your dollars go, to purchase, produce, and broadcast the programs that you watch here on your public TV station, WPSU. So we're engaged tonight in the idea of you supporting your public TV station. If you give money to your cable company, or maybe give money to your satellite company, you're spending a good deal of money there. Maybe 75, 85, I don't know, sometimes even more. A lot of those dollars go to support channels that you may never watch on the cable or satellite service. None of that money, not a nickel of it, comes to public television. That's why we come directly to you and ask for your pledge at 800-245-9779. Now, I look behind me. There's two phones open. If you have trouble getting through, call now. Lindsay?
And the phones are open. You have time. We want to say thank you to some people who did take that time to make that pledge. Tanya Coretti, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, from Ebensburg, called in to make her pledge of support to public television. Paula Ford in Altoona, Thomas Schaefer in Hollidaysburg, and I love when I see things like this. Clark Creary in Melbourne, Florida, called in to make a pledge because he has a cousin, Linda, who lives in Revlock. I love things like that. When you hear people all over, just shows you the reach of your dollars. All by making that call of support, these programs reach so far and affect so many people and present public television for many, many people to enjoy. So don't wait. Call 1-800-245-9779. I think Whitney's got a few more people to acknowledge who called in and made their pledge of support.
I do, and I want to remind you that we're checking Twitter right now under the hashtag #OTEbensburg, and we have someone who said finding out so much about our fantastic town, and so it's really exciting to see so many positive comments on Twitter about tonight's show, so thank you for that. So keep following the conversation on Twitter. Also, we want to thank Monica Rizzoliti from Ebensburg. Thank you so much for calling and being a part of tonight's broadcast and supporting your hometown stories on WPSU. Also, Joe DeLewis from Revlock, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's broadcast. And Carlo and Deborah Falcini from Ebensburg, thank you so much to the Falcini family. We had an anonymous gift from Ebensburg. Thank you, you know who you are. And also, Dr. Carrie Kirsch, orthodontist, thank you so much for being part of tonight's show. And Ron and Diana Mastrina, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show. And Melissa Martin from State College, thanks so much for your gift as well. We want to hear from you next at 1-800-245-9779. There's Danae taking a call. Danae Koss, who was a huge supporter of the project from the very beginning. You're the next one we want to thank when you give us a call and support the show. Remember, $75 contribution will send you tonight's program on DVD with some great bonus features. $120 contribution, 2 copies of the DVD. But you have to call. I don't know if we've had any shout-outs from Port on Center yet. Give us a call and be a part of tonight's show. Right, Greg?
Believe it or not, we've heard from Lou and Jeanette Ripley of Ebensburg. Get what I did there? Believe it or not, we heard from Lou and Jeanette. Also, Mary Gail Lancy from Ebensburg. Thank you very much, Mary Gail. Let's see, Julie Corin of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, call in. Wow, Pittsburgh. Julie Barrett of York, Pennsylvania, called in. Linda J. Is it DeSavich of Evansburg, and Bryce, her grandson, called in to pledge. Thank you very much. And also Fremont McKendrick of Evansburg called in with a pledge, and thank you very much. All these people calling in, making their pledge at 1-800-245-9779. We'll be getting back to the show in a minute. Now's your chance to call. You got some more thank yous, Lindsay?
I do, Greg. We want to say thank you to Carol Henry from Ebensburg. Thank you, Carol. Gretchen, I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong, Mulkhill from Ebensburg, and Eric Rummel from Ebensburg. All those supportive people from Ebensburg. And what you guys can't see at home, we actually, aside from our phone volunteers, have a whole cheering section of Ebensburg, our town Ebensburg supporters over here cheering you on. So want to join in on that support. All these people came out to support public television tonight and to support our town Ebensburg. We want to hear from you. 1-800-245-9779. If you make that call, we would love to thank you on air. Like Whitney, I think. Do we have more thank yous? Or?
I do not. I'm all out of thank yous right now. That's right. We need to get some more. We need to hear from you right now because you don't want to be walking around town tomorrow and have people say, you know what, I don't think I heard your name. Were you a part of the Our Town Ebensburg show tomorrow? Tonight is the night. Tonight is the night to show your hometown pride. That's what it's all about. It's about sharing stories about your local community. Where else would a television station turn over an entire broadcast to one town? Only your local public TV station, and WPSU does that time and time again. And tonight, it's all about Ebensburg. It's Ebensburg night on WPSU, and we're looking for your contribution now at 1-800-245-9779. We're going back to more stories, but the phone lines are open, 1-800-245-9779. Enjoy.
You can also make your pledge at WPSU.org. Click on Contribute at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Christina Corin. I'm here to talk about the Women of the Moose. Women of the Moose organization was founded in 1913, and there's about 400,000 members across the United States. We have about 1,600 chapters all over and one in Ebensburg, and we have about 400 members in the Ebensburg chapter. It's a unique organization because it's a social club, but then we also do fundraising events for our 2 main charities, which is Moose Heart and Moose Haven. Moose Heart is a community in inner city Chicago for local children and teens in need, and Moose Haven is a retirement community in Jacksonville, Florida for Moose members. If we're not supporting community events, we're doing our own in-house fundraising, social gatherings, which one recently was the Women of the Moose painting event. And it was women from all over coming together to paint the same picture on, everyone had their own canvas. And it was a Friday night, and it was a happening place in Ebensburg. We had a live band. People were stopping in and out. It was just a fun place in Ebensburg for a Friday night. All ages, all backgrounds, you couldn't ask for a better social organization to see that many unique people coming together for one purpose. To pass on that supportive environment, I hope, to the generations to come, and we hope that we only increase our members from here on out.
My name is Paul Seymour, and I'm here to talk about our music theater program at Central Cambria. The students get a very broad experience in theater, far beyond just producing one of the shows that we're working on. So many of them come out of their shell and develop lifelong skills, and partly it's because our community is so receptive to them. They're thrilled, they're excited, and beyond that, they're learning, and these skills will carry them into adulthood. There are so many examples of when we have been in need as a music theater program, and our community has stepped up without question. It's because our community wants our students to be successful. They want to see this program and our students be successful, so it's very uplifting. Beauty and the Beast is wonderful because there are so many subtext themes that our students could really latch onto, and it was just so wonderful because every student in Beauty and the Beast was busy. There were no leads. Even the company had so much to do that all students were involved to a high degree, and it was really exciting. Just yesterday, I heard a student who's a current junior talking to an incoming freshman about our music theater program. One of the things that this boy said to this incoming freshman was, "You will never find a school family like this." There's something about theater and the emotional connections that students make and how difficult it is to travel the journey and to gain the confidence to put yourself in front of an audience that's very bonding. I think the nature of music theater is that everybody, the students, the adults involved, all become co-teachers. And it's not necessarily always the adults that lead the learning, but it's the collaboration of all of the students and all of the adults, each staying in their own lane with their own specialty that makes it work so well. And I think it's kind of a metaphor for life, and it's a wonderful opportunity for students to learn that working together, it can produce just wonderful results and create wonderful memories that will last them a lifetime.
Hi, I'm Molly Pilcher, and I did my story on the Evansburg Library. It's a very friendly place. All the staff is wonderful, and they're helpful, and they're just cheerful, and they make everything seem homey. When you first walk into the library, half of the library is just dedicated to books, and then the other half of the library has computers and magazines and newspapers and all these resources for kids to use. And there are a bunch of tables set up right in the front area for tutoring or if you just want to sit down and read for a little bit. The checkout desk is right at the front, so if you want to drop off your books as you walk in, you just set them on the counter and then keep on walking. There's a children's room at the library where children can just go and play and have fun. They have the train set in the library. They just recently got it, and it's just like a place for the kids to play while the adults browse for the books. And they have a little puppet station and a whole bunch of puzzles and games that they can play and just leave the adults and parents free. But the favorite part of the library would probably be like the back section of books, because that's where I always went as a kid. I would check out tons of books, 10 or 15 at a time, and we didn't know if we were only allowed like 10 or, because I would have this big stack coming home and then I'd take like 2 weeks to read them all and then we'd come back and do it all over again. I just like the small town where everybody knows everybody and everybody's willing to help neighbors, and it's not a big city where there's always noise. It's sort of quiet.
All I can say is the library is a great place. I love it. We invite everybody to come and see what we have to offer for you because we have something for everyone. They say all the time what a friendly atmosphere that we have here, and they think that we're a very nice feature for the Evansburg community.
Hi, I'm Mid Mandachak, and I'm here to talk about my candy store. We're located in the Evansburg Mini Mall, and we just had our 26th anniversary. I wanted to be a stay-home mom, but our income wasn't very good, and we had 2 small kids. Through a relative, they showed me how they made some Easter candy at home. I thought, wow, this could be something I could do at home. I did it at home for 9 years, and then it just kept growing and growing, and we just had to move out. was scary to move out and open a store, but it's been a fun ride. Whenever we first started, we only made about 12 different kinds of candy, and now we probably make 50 different varieties. Our best sellers are peanut butter melties, and we just sell, oh my goodness, so many of those for holidays especially. We ship candy all over the United States, especially for holidays. And then the people in California that get chocolate, then they call us and they want us to send them chocolate. I'm amazed, really, think a little town like Ebensburg needed a candy store, but I guess we're doing something right, so. People come in and they'll say, is there really a Mid? What is that short for? And my real name's Mildred, and I've always gone by Mid as a nickname. And so they'll say, there really is a Mid. And we've had people stop and they want to buy a box of candy only because their aunt's name is Mid, and they want to take something because it has her name on it. And we've had people stop and take pictures of the front of the store with the sign because they know somebody whose name is Mid. So it's fun. And most of the time when people come to the candy store, they're happy. We do little tours at the store. I'll even be out places and kids will say, oh, you're the candy lady. I was at your store and I want my mom to bring me back. I don't really make candy that much anymore with 19 employees and the business to run. It's, I rely on them a lot. So we're always taking some new ideas and trying to make things better and faster, but still the same good chocolate. I don't think of myself as an entrepreneur. Without family, my husband has been behind me the whole way, and my kids grew up at the candy store, and my in-laws and my parents, everybody pitched in and helped, and I just feel lucky that I got to do it, and it's worked. It's just a lot of fun, and to think that we are part of Ebensburg now it's a big deal to us, really.
Hi, my name is Marge Taylor, and I'm going to talk to you today about horse pulling. Horse pulling is whenever you have two horses and you have some harnesses and collars and stuff on them, and you go to fairs and you hook up to some weight and pull the weight, and you have to pull at a certain distance. And then every time you pull at the distance, they just keep adding weight, and then eventually someone wins. There's different surfaces, sometimes we pull on a racetrack, and the most we pulled is 6,000, 7,000 pounds on a racetrack. Or you can go in a place that has clay or a good surface, and you can pull 14,000 pounds. When I was a junior in high school, my track coach, he was talking about how his wife needed a babysitter. So I started babysitting his kids, and I noticed that he had a horse barn. He would do the hitch horses, and where you have a wagon, you just drive around the field and stuff. And then he got into pulling horses. I've been there for the last 6 years and haven't left. It takes a lot of time and effort. You have to have your horse conditioned before you go to a horse pull. Usually most people work their horses between 2 to 3 hours a day. The pair that I pull, I have Ted. He's 9 years old. He weighs about 2,300 pounds. He has a great personality. He loves anybody that comes in the barn. And then we have Jim. He will be 7 this spring. He weighs 2,800 pounds. The other day I was doing stalls and I had a hoodie on, and I had my back to him, and he came up to me and grabbed my hoodie by the back and pulled, and I looked, and he turned and walked and went to the other end of the barn and had his head in the corner, and he just plays games like that. I have a passion for him. I feel like the horses are my friends. They listen to you, but they won't tell anyone what you're saying. They know when you're sad, if I'm having a bad day or if I cry, or they'll put their head on your shoulder, they just know something's wrong. They care about you. I work at Mainline Pharmacy in Evansburg. I'm a pharmacy tech. I've been there it'll be a year this summer. This is also a full-time job, yes. It's definitely more than a hobby. You have to have a passion to put the time and energy into it. Usually I spend 4 hours a day pulling season at the barn. From feeding, bathing, working on, putting them away, cleaning the barn up. That's usually 4 to 5 hours is what it usually is. If I could make a living from horse pulling, I would do horse pulling. If I could afford it and have a bunch of pair of pulling horses, and hopefully maybe someday I'll marry a husband that has pulling horses and we can have a bunch of them.
Hi, I'm Sam Pilcher, and I did my video on the Ghost Town Trail. It's this long trail that goes on for 36 miles. It starts here in our Cambria County seat, and it goes all the way to the Indiana County seat. I've walked on it many times before. No vehicles are allowed there, so you have no competition with being close or being hit by a car. I go there with my family a lot. It's got its name from all the towns that were along the trail and the coal mines. When they used to be open, that was thriving the towns with life. Over the years, they became abandoned and they got called ghost towns, so it got its name from that. There are cemeteries when you're going through the Ghost Town Trail, so that's also another reason why it's called the Ghost Town Trail. I'll just stop there, just walk back. If you go under a bridge and you honk your horn 2 times, it's said that the white lady, she'll come out and walk beside you. Sometimes I'll go there just to scare myself or my sister. The Ghost Town Trail is working with other trails to combine one giant trail. Their goal right now is to get it from Harrisburg all the way to Pittsburgh. I think the farthest I've ever gone was just to Revlock, around that place, and then had to walk home. I've lived here my whole life, so it's just home. There's so much good stuff around here, like the Ghost Town Trail, the library. There's so many places here that I couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
I'm Kristen Valerial. I'm the program director at Bright Beginnings in Ebensburg. We offer child development services, education classes, and different programs to give children the best start they can have here in Ebensburg. Beginnings has been serving the children of Ebensburg for over 10 years with various services and programs. Our preschool program, this is the 5th year for it. So we've served quite a few families in Ebensburg. We've been there 3 years in our new building. It's a beautiful, bright, cheery classroom. We have the best of both worlds. We're right along the Ghost Town Trail, so the kids can go on nature walks there. And then we also have a borough playground that's beautiful at our disposal, so it's a nice location. Every morning we offer a preschool class. Our curriculum is a great all-inclusive curriculum, Mother Goose Time. It's developmentally appropriate. We do all kinds of activities that touch the whole child. We do it for their social emotional development, their intellectual development, their gross motor development, and we really nurture the whole child. Parents and Child Together is a class for 2 to 5-year-old children and their parents to do together. The main goal is the socialization piece. It's a 2-hour program once a week, and the parents come in with their children, and we design crafts and finger plays and songs, and the parents get some tips from the preschool teachers there. It's a really great program. Our families in the Ebensburg area are so supportive and wonderful, and it's been a pleasure to work here and serve so many kids. Our children, the reason I love this age so much is that the eagerness and enthusiasm that the kids bring, it's a pleasure every day at work. You can't have a bad day in preschool. The kids are always making you smile and laugh, and it's a wonderful age. I love that our families are dedicated. We have working families. I love the rural setting. I love that there's opportunities nearby, yet we're far enough away to be in a small town. I think our community really comes together and embraces that small town feeling. Everyone knows everyone. It's a great place to raise a family.
I'm Kate Wolf, and I'm the counselor at Cambria and Jackson Elementary Schools for Central Cambria School District. Our elementary students at Cambria Elementary School here in Ebensburg did a special project. We're writing cards to a group of soldiers. Our gym teacher, Mrs. Janie Stratton, her nephew is in the U.S. Army, and he was deployed to Afghanistan with his battalion. And she wanted to show support and do something to help them out. And she asked our classroom teachers at the elementary school if they would have their students write cards or letters to send to the soldiers. We have about 500 elementary students, and they all made cards, and we sent a box out to the battalion just in time for Valentine's Day. Getting a thank you letter back from the battalion with a photo was very exciting for the kids. We read that on the announcements at school, and they got to see the picture, and I read the letter to them again in classes. They saw exactly who they were helping and how good it made the service people feel to get those cards. One of the things that I love about working in the elementary school is seeing those youngest students, the starting out, and they are, I think, very naturally interested in other people and helping and making a difference and doing positive things. And if they're guided that way, there are amazing things that can happen.
I think the world is awesome because you protect us. When we need a savior, you are always there. I know it's hard being away from your families for so long. Sincerely, Kevin.
I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you are able to see all of your relatives soon. I bet everyone you know is super proud of you for risking your lives to save ours. Best wishes, Morgan.
It's a really neat place for kids to develop, and working with those future community members is one of the things that I really love about working in the elementary building.
Thank you for protecting our land and our country. You're the best. You guys are amazing. Thank you for protecting our country. Soldiers, you are awesome.
Stick around for more stories from your neighbors as we get into the spirit of Ebensburg with some local reenactors, learn how the community supports the area parks, and visit Bishop Carroll High School. But first, show your support for WPSU in Ebensburg by making a pledge. Thanks.
And we're all about our town, Ebensburg, tonight on your local public television station, WPSU. Wasn't it great to hear from all those children in this Our Town, Ebensburg? What a great community Ebensburg is. I loved hearing from their stories to the veterans, and we also heard from a couple children's younger children tellers. So we were younger children storytellers. There you go. So we heard from them, and it was a pleasure to listen to them. It's always great to have the people of the town tell us their wonderful stories, and one of the amazing things that we get to do tonight is celebrate those stories. And I understand population of Ebensburg is 2295. So our goal tonight is to get as many of those names on the air as a thank you to folks calling in to support their local public television station, your local public television station, WPSU. It's the number to call, 1-800-245-9779. We have a number of thank yous to pass along. We want to thank Carol Myers of Ebensburg calling in. Thank you, Carol. We want to thank Renee and Janet Damon of Ebensburg also calling in, to support their local public television station, your local public television station, WPSU. We also want to thank Barry and Debbie Zafuto. Thank you. I hope I got that right, Zafuto. And the peanut gallery here will let me know if I did or I didn't. I think I did all right. And we also want to thank Andrew Swope of Ebensburg calling in to say they support stories like this, programs like this, Our Town Ebensburg, and the great storytelling that goes along. The great storytelling of the townspeople, I might add. Whitney and Lindsay are the producers of the program, but they really enjoy just coming in and helping the people tell their stories. And speaking of Whitney, I believe she's here right now.
Hi, I'm Kevin, and you know what? We've been talking about some awesome premiere parties that are going on in Ebensburg tonight. We know the Women of the Moose are having a premiere party, and there's a cool one going on at Poron Center. And you know what? We heard that the Ebensburg VFW is having a premiere party too. So we need to hear from some of these folks. Give us a call if you're having a premiere party, 1-800-245-9779. Make your contribution and let us know that you've got a group together, that you guys are enjoying stories from your friends and neighbors, and that you're enjoying seeing them on your local public TV station, WPSU. Remember, your contribution of $75, we would love to thank you with a copy of tonight's program on DVD. And there are some great bonus features on this DVD. $120 contribution, 2 of those DVDs. But more importantly than a DVD, it's the knowledge that you're supporting the programs, the stories from your friends and neighbors told only on public television. And several of your neighbors have stepped up and done their part too right now. We want to thank Barb Popovich-Scott from Harrisburg. Thank you, Barb, so much for being a part of tonight's program and celebration. Thanks, Barb. Also, Amy Hahn and family from Collegeville. Thank you, the Hahn family, for stepping up. And, hey, here's a cool one. Annette and the Quilt Girls from Ebensburg. Hey, Quilt Girls. Also, we heard from Joe and Megan Sinclair in Ebensburg, and Susan and Tim Whiffler in Chest Springs, which I hear is just right up the road from Ebensburg, and Eileen and Dave Saliga from Ebensburg, thank you to you as well. You're the next one we want to thank at 1-800-245-9779. More stories from your neighbors coming your way, but I think Lindsay has a few folks to thanks too.
I do. Speaking of neighbors, these are some Ebensburg neighbors, or maybe not even Ebensburg, who called in, and we want to thank them for their support of public television. We want to thank Dean Giddings of Giddings Private Investigation from Ebensburg. Thank you, Dean. We want to, there's another pledge that's come in. We want to say thank you to Suzanne Sekar and Jane Kretschnon of Johnstown. Thank you for that pledge of support. Attorney David Novak of Davidsville, Pennsylvania, and Kathy Macara of Arlington, Virginia. So we've got people coming in from all over. We've actually crossed out of the state. We had somebody from Florida before call. I love the reach of this show. All these people so excited about our town, Ebensburg, and about public television. People who took the time to make that call of support. 1-800-245-9779. We've got all of our great phone volunteers in here. I think there are some lines open. There is time to make that call before we go into our next section of Our Town Ebensburg, next segment. Lots more stories coming up, but if you've enjoyed the stories that you've heard so far tonight, we want to hear it. And if you make that pledge of support, you get a DVD to take home of your very own. Watch that favorite story over and over again. $120 pledge, you get those 2 DVDs. Either way, we want to hear that pledge. $40, let's not forget, $40 gets you the basic membership. Maybe this is your first Our Town. You were just surfing the channels, saw it. If you've never seen it before, Our Town is the series. We go into a town and let the townspeople tell the stories of their town. Let these great, unique stories full of heart, full of your local friends and neighbors here, right here in Pennsylvania. So make that call, pledge of support. 1-800-245-9779. I think we may have some more thank yous, more pledges to acknowledge. Kevin?
We sure do, Lindsay. Thank you. So I made the challenge here as we came in the break, population 2295 for our town, Ebensburg, and I think we're well on our way. The spirit is alive here tonight, and Ebensburg is making the phones ring. We really appreciate your support of programs about your community, about local communities across central Pennsylvania, about Ebensburg, because actually a little bit of what you give tonight makes the seed money for the next community that we will be doing and on here, right here on your local public television station, WPSU. So we have several thank yous to pass along, and I want to continue with those. We want to thank Susan Estep of Ebensburg. Tom and Susan Estep, thank you for calling in. We want to thank Dawn Williamson of Ebensburg. Also, thank you for calling in. We want to thank Sonia Reedblock of Ebensburg. Sonia, I hope I got that last name right. If not, let me know. And we want to thank Joan Tirabassi family, also of Ebensburg, the Tirabassi family. A little applause for the Tirabassi family back there. And we want to thank Annalisa McCann of Baltimore, Maryland, calling in. Must be watching online at WPSU.org/live. We want to hear more from you folks that are watching online. The number to call, 1-800-245-9779. I just saw some urgent thank yous coming in, so I'm going to pass it right over to Whitney. Whitney.
That's right, Karen Long, all the way from Austin, Texas. Karen, thank you so much for joining us and watching online at WPSU.org/live. You know, we've been talking a lot about all the stories that you're seeing tonight on tonight's premiere of Our Town Ebensburg, and telling you a little bit about some of these great bonus features that you can get when you receive a copy of tonight's program on DVD. Our way of saying thanks for a contribution of $75. But you know what? Let's show you a little bit of what you might see in those bonus features. Let's take a look.
I have CC pride because I have
Central Cambria
CC pride because we have some of the best staff in the area. I have CC pride because we excel in sports. Because our national qualifying forensics team.
That's right, that's just a little taste of one of those great bonus features that we have as part of the DVD. That can be yours when you make a contribution of $75 to support the stories from your friends and neighbors, Our Town Ebensburg, and there are a couple bonus features associated with the program. $75, that can be yours. $120 contribution, we can send you 2 of those DVDs. Now that's the bonus feature on the Cambria County Schools feature. There's also one from the Cambria County Historical Society and a couple other little things in there as well. But the important thing is to step up and support stories told by your friends and neighbors from their perspective. And the video was shot by your friends and neighbors, so it truly is all from their point of view. And it was a partnership between us as a local public TV station to help put it all together. And we couldn't have been prouder than to be a part of it and to help make it possible. Now you're making it possible by coming forward and making that contribution of support. 1-800-245-9779.
We've got a few more thank yous. We want to thank, oh, it sounds like one more, Fred and Patty Creaney of Evansburg. Thank you so much. And Tracy Miller from Hair Expressions by Tracy. I don't see a town, but I'm guessing that's maybe in Evansburg. Maybe these guys know, but we have lines open. We have time to take your call, so you can make that pledge of support. 1-800-245-9779. You know, you see a lot of reality television, reality shows on TV today. This is reality TV show as it should be. This is like true reality television in the town. Quality programs, not some of that other junk you might find on other stations. Nothing but the best, nothing but heart and real stories, real people in Pennsylvania here on WPSU through our town, Ebensburg. So it sounds like we've got a lot of phones open right now. If you haven't made that pledge, we've heard from a whole bunch of people, a lot of them from Ebensburg, from farther away, but I bet we have not heard from every single person in Ebensburg, not even close. So we want to hear from you now. There's still time. 1-800-245-9779. Whitney said it a little earlier. You do not want to be that person walking around town tomorrow when everybody else is saying, I called in, I made my pledge, I got my DVD, and you go, oh yeah, I didn't make my call. You want to be the person who makes that call and has that DVD so you can share it with all your friends. $75 pledge, supporting public television, $75 gets you that Our Town Ebensburg DVD. $120 gets you 2 DVDs. What a deal. So you want to be that person, you want to have those DVDs and show your support of Our Town Ebensburg on WPSU.
Thanks, Lindsay. I issued the challenge a little while ago. There are 3,295 people who live in the town of the borough of Evansburg, and we would love to hear from 1 out of 10 tonight. So if we could get to 300, that would be great. We're already well on our way. We're starting to ease towards that 100 mark. We're just a little over 50 right now. So we're challenging you to do that tonight. As Lindsay and Whitney have been saying, don't be the person tomorrow morning that didn't call in to say, I support programming like Our Town Ebensburg on my local television station, my local public television station, WPSU. And in that vein, I have some people to thank who are stepping up and supporting their local television, their local public television station, WPSU, and programs about their community like Our Town Ebensburg. We want to thank Jack and Ellen Coyle of Evansburg for calling in. Thank you. We want to thank Bernie Terabasi, the Terabasi Central Tavern of Evansburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you for calling in. We want to thank Alice Emanuel of Evansburg for calling in. Thank you, Alice. And we want to thank C&T Firewood of Summerhill, Pennsylvania. Thank you, C&T Firewood, for calling in to support your local public television station, WPSU, and programming like this. The phones are a little quiet right now. This is a good time to call in to take advantage of those DVD offers that we, thank you gifts that we are offering. A gift of $75 will get you 1 DVD of the Our Town Ebensburg special. And if not, if you can step up your giving just a little bit more, for $120, we'll send you both DVDs. It's a good way to keep a program for yourself and then also pass one on to a loved one or perhaps someone that lives out of the area now. So that's a good thank you gift to take advantage of. But any phone call gets your name on the air and a thank you and a shout out to you tonight for supporting your local public television station, WPSU. Whitney.
And I heard you just thank Jack Coyle. Jack Coyle, we are going to hear him introduce the president of Mount Aloysius College. He's going to kick off that story in the next segment, so stay tuned for that. Jack was one of our storytellers, so stay tuned. That's coming your way. Just a few moments. There are more stories from your friends and neighbors coming up soon, but I want to thank Charlotte Popovich McFadden from Evansburg. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for being a part of tonight's premiere broadcast. Also, Bob and Anita Popovich from Evansburg, thank you as well for joining us, joining your friends and neighbors in supporting Our Town Ebensburg. You can join as well, 1-800-245-9779. We are on our way, working our way to help pay for this program. When we come into Ebensburg and we invite everybody to come forward with their stories and help produce this program, we're also doing it on faith that you guys are going to come forward and help support it and help pay for the production. That's what we're doing tonight. 1-800-245-9779. Remember, $75 contribution will thank you with a copy of tonight's program on DVD. $120 contribution, 2 of those DVDs. But it's not about buying a DVD. It's about paying for a program like this and all the programs that you find right here on public television and supporting stories from your friends and neighbors. Right, Lindsay?
That's right, Whitney. And you know, I feel awfully left out right now. Kevin just got a batch of thank yous. Whitney got a batch of thank yous. I have no thank yous. That means we need more of you to call in so we can acknowledge your pledges of support. We've got phones open. There's time left in this break. Can make that call. We can thank you on air. As Whitney said, you're not just getting a DVD out of this. You are supporting 2 great things. You're supporting the town of Ebensburg, and you are supporting public television through local public television, WPSU. These are, I mean, we all love our national programs, but these are local programs. This is the heart and the truth of what public television does. We go into towns, we tell real stories, real people, people you know. Only you would never see this program on a commercial station. We take the time to tell all the stories. Everybody gets their say. We really take the time to explore every town we go to, and we travel throughout the state to bring you Our Town, the Our Town series, and it's only possible because people like you watching right now picked up that phone and made that phone call. Like Whitney said, we go in with good faith that you will make that pledge of support and help us pay for the production and keep the series going. So make that call, 1-800-245-9779, $75. You do get thanked with that DVD of Our Town Ebensburg, $120. You get 2 DVDs. So no matter what the amount, call in, make that pledge of support for Our Town Ebensburg.
Lindsay, all lines are full right now. We just had one line open up. This is a good time to call, 1-800-245-9779. We are celebrating Our Town Ebensburg tonight. And you know, how this production works is basically Whitney and Lindsay come into the town, they meet with some folks, and some folks sign up, and then they come back and they help them tell their stories through video. And it really, the people of Ebensburg become the producers of the program, and we're so very proud to bring this program to you. We bring these programs, these stories of local communities to you, and one of the things that really touches me, you know, my grandfather was from the Clearfield area, and when I grew up, you know, he always talked about coal mining, and I actually got to see one of these stories go into the mine and explain how that works. And there are really these great, wonderful stories about different communities across central Pennsylvania that are preserved because of this program. And if that's something you can get behind, if that's something you can say, I want to see more of that, I want to see you go to the next community, that's basically what your contribution is doing. It's creating seed money to do the next Our Town. So to make that commitment, to make that pledge, you simply call 1-800-245-9779. We're asking you tonight to put a dollar value on that, to put a dollar value on what seeing stories about your local communities and your neighbors means to you on your local public television station, WPSU. I believe Whitney has more thank you, so I'm going to send it right over to her. Right, Whit?
I do. I want to thank Matt and Melissa Kirsch from Evansburg. Thank you to the Kirsches for being a part of tonight's show. And the Shadowbox Garden Center in Evansburg. And you're getting, all of you guys are getting big cheers back there from our cheering section. And thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show. You know, Kevin's absolutely right. This is such a unique series because when Lindsay and Carly and Bill and I came into Ebensburg, you know, it was us talking to the community members and saying, you know, we're not from Ebensburg. We don't know what stories are important to you. We don't know what stories need to be told. This is completely different from any type of commercial model or any type of story that would, any type of program that would be produced on commercial television. What do you want to tell in this program? And these are the stories that you're seeing come to life tonight on Our Town Ebensburg. These are the stories that came forward because your friends and neighbors thought that they were important to share. And it's their voices that are telling the stories, their video that are showing everything about these stories tonight. They put the work into making it all possible. And it's only made possible financially because of your investment right now at 1-800 1-800-245-9779. You would never see this anywhere else on television but on WPSU. And we know that you value local stories, and we hope that right now you'll make the investment to see that they continue. 1-800-245-9779. $75 will thank you with a copy of tonight's program on DVD. $120, we'll send you 2 of those DVDs. But step up and be counted right now. Right, Lindsay?
That's right, Whitney. We want to count somebody. We want to thank Deb Bender from Evansburg. Deb, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. And again, we've got our great phone volunteers. You know, we have people who not only participated in the video, helped us make this great program, told these wonderful stories, they also gave in their time to come in tonight. So they have already stepped up to support public television, to support WPSU. And we're just asking you to make a phone call. Step up the same way. We're trying to get to 200 phone calls by the end of the night. We want to hear from as many people in the great town of Ebensburg as possible. If you do call in and you get a busy signal, try back. I think we have some phones open now. You can also go online, WPSU.org, make your pledge that way. However you do it, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your support for our town, Ebensburg. Help us make that goal of 200 phone calls. We have a few minutes before we go back to the program. So many great stories coming up. All of these wonderful storytellers here with us who stepped up to the plate to tell this story of their town, our town, Ebensburg, here on WPSU. And I think maybe we have some more thank yous.
We certainly do, and I believe every line is tied up right now, so just be patient for just a few moments and give us a call, 1-800-245-9779, or as Lindsay said, you can take advantage of pledging online. It is a safe, secure site at WPSU.org, and you can do your pledge right there. There are no concerns there, and actually someone did that. We want to thank Kristen O'Brien of Bellefonte, who called in, and Kristen says, I grew up in Ebensburg. It is a wonderful place, and I know this community agrees. I know we agree, having spent time in Ebensburg. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we want to thank Randy and Ann Pasania, yeah, I did that one right, and they're giving me props for that. Randy and Ann of Evansburg, thank you for calling in. We want to thank Betsy Thomas of Evansburg for calling in. Ah, Betsy, a lot of people well loved here in the community. And we want to thank Barbara Cordora. More applause for Barbara. And that's the wonderful thing about tonight. It's your friends and neighbors. It's their production of Our Town Ebensburg, the stories about your community, and they have come here to the studio tonight and given their time, and they want to hear from you. This is really, it's a neat experience for us to see their work and your community celebrated on your local public television station, WPSU, and we're very proud of that, and it's a great partnership between your local public television station, your community, and your pledge dollars make that all possible. So please give us a call at 1-800-245-9779. We have 3 phones open right now. Right, Whitney?
I think we have just a couple minutes, so we're going back to the show, but I want to let you know we are checking Twitter, #OT Ebensburg, and I've got a great one here. Shout out to Ebensburg on WPSU, the hometown of Cambria County, #county seat, #sit down and watch, #OT Ebensburg. There are some great ones here, and people are really following the conversation. We want to thank Matt and Deani Ratchford and Emma Marley from Ebensburg. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight's broadcast and supporting stories from your friends and neighbors. You can be the next one we thank. Stand up and be counted among the 200 calls we're looking to reach around contributions to support stories on your local public TV station, WPSU, because programs like this would not be found anywhere else, but they're only supported through viewers like you. If this matters to you, if this is important, give us a call and show your support right now. Remember, $75 contribution, we'd love to thank you with a copy of the DVD, or $120, we would love to send you 2 of those DVDs. But there are many more stories coming your way. We cannot wait for you to see so many more stories from your friends and neighbors. And putting it all together was so much fun. I can't tell you, Bill Wallace, our editor and videographer, there was a lot of work put into this show because there was so much great material to go through. The volunteer videographers that we had on this program gave us so much great material to work with. And you guys have such a wealth of stories in the Ebensburg community to share that, we could have made this show 3 hours long with these stories, and I'm sure we'll be back for another Ebensburg, but your investment in it is what makes it possible right now. 1-800-245-9779.
Like Whitney said, there are so many great stories we could have put into this, and if you make that pledge of support and get that DVD, there are some great bonus features that didn't make it into the broadcast program. $75 pledge, you get that DVD. You can check out those bonus features, those extra content. $120, you get 2 DVDs, double the bonus features. That's a bargain. WPSU is your local public television station who brought you Our Town Ebensburg. We want to hear from you, and we want to thank the people that we've heard from so far. It's another phone call just in. We want to thank Kevin Rosensteel from Ebensburg. Thank you very much, Kevin. Jim and Bev Height from Ebensburg. And Ann and Robert Macon from from South Ebensburg. And, oh, they just keep coming. Martha O'Brien from Ebensburg. And Georgette, I'm very sorry if I say this wrong, Georgette Osinowski, George and Andy from Ebensburg. So thank you, all of you who called in. Ostinowski, I'm sorry. But we want to thank you, all of you, those two. 1-800-245-9779. Have some phones open, have some time in the program. Make that call of support. Like Whitney said, you never know. There's so many great stories. Maybe we'll be back to Ebensburg someday to make a second Our Town. But if we are, it is only because viewer support, people like you called in and made that pledge. Your support keeps the Our Town series going. 1-800-245-9779.
And we want to thank you for your support, and we want to read your names on the air tonight to celebrate folks who are calling in to support their local public television station, your local public television station, WPSU. So we want to thank Tim Finn, calling in from Portage, Pennsylvania, from the Finn family at Penn's Gables Restaurant. A lot of happiness there. And, you know, we celebrated Our Town Portage not too long ago, so it's kind of a nice way to pay it forward, or to kind of say that you're appreciating yet another in the Our Town series. We want to thank Carrie Braniff of Revlock, Pennsylvania, the Tim Braniff family calling in tonight. And we want to thank Jerry Burkhart, the Burkhart family of Ebensburg, calling in tonight. So we're headed back to the show. Lots of great stuff ahead. The phone volunteers are here. You can continue to call 1-800-245-9779 or log on to WPSU.org.
You can also make your pledge at WPSU.org. Click on Contribute at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
I'm Sandy Evans, and I'm here to talk about the Evansburg Area Running Club. Evansburg is a very interesting place to run because it offers a variety of terrain, hills, flat areas. The Evansburg Area Running Club was formed by Art Remillard, who also lives in Evansburg, in 2009. He runs a lot of times at 5:30 in the morning with Kevin Doyle. He's one of our faster runners, and actually he's training to run Boston this year. So they thought it would be a nice opportunity to encourage others to participate, and they formed this group. We meet at the Central Cambria High School track Wednesday evenings. It starts in May and then continues on throughout the summer. There's runners, walkers, joggers, everyone's encouraged. We even have a couch potato to 5K program. And we have speakers that come to these sessions that we offer on Wednesdays throughout the summertime, and they offer various tips. We offer several events throughout the year that help promote beginners. Then you graduate in July by running the Evansburg Area Homecoming 5K. And the experienced runners will run right alongside the walkers and beginning joggers. The running club promotes each other to support each other, push you through those difficult times when you want to just give up and quit. With running, you form a lot of new friendships, and it's nice to encourage people as they complete various runs. It makes you feel a sense of accomplishment, it helps you alleviate stress, and it also gives you a sense of exploring. You get to travel lots of terrain and see things that you don't typically see when you're driving on a car. Evansburg area is a safe place to run. It's well lit. The community looks out for you. Occasionally we'll run into a lady who always walks her dog, and she looks forward to us seeing us every morning. I love the variety of terrain that the town offers and sensing the history that lies underneath as I travel afoot.
Hi, my name is Phil Brouillette. I'm talking about the local art scene in Evansburg. I mainly work in colored pencil and just regular pencil also. So I've done a lot of commission work when I first moved to Evansburg, which was 25 years ago, and it's mostly people's portraits and drawings of their houses and their pets. Favorite subjects are usually portraits of people, and I work in kind of a surrealistic vein. The drawing, All the Blue Changes, was a drawing of my wife at the beach at Cape May, New Jersey. The portrait itself has a very mesmerizing effect to it. Another favorite that I did was Winter's Voice, which was a snowman out in the middle of the woods with a strange light projecting these unusual shadows on the ground, which had a pleasing effect that I was after. Dave Huber works mainly in acrylic painting. Dave is pretty much the historian for Ebensburg, and most of his work reflects his interest in the history of Ebensburg. Different people from the past and buildings and structures that are here and ones that are no longer here. He just finished a painting of the courthouse, but it's from a really interesting angle. It's not the front of the courthouse, which people usually associate with the courthouse, but it's a side view, and the lighting in it is really beautiful. It captures the late afternoon sunlight.
One of the fields that I work in is children's book illustration.
Brian Dumm is an art teacher at Jackson Township, and he also does a lot of digital work, and he connects with different companies all over the world using his art, which mostly is based on, a lot of it has the look of illustrations for children's books. Kathleen Case Burke, she's been a teacher at Bishop Carroll. She's now retired. All of her drawing is from life. You know, she puts together different things that she's interested in. Right now she's working on a subject that's all with birds, and she's really doing it really realistic as far as all these birds are lined up, and they're done from different models. Some are Christmas ornaments, some are paperweights and different things, but she combines them all together in such an interesting way.
Not all of my work is realistic. Some of it is abstract, and I tend to like grids. I divide things into sections, and I'm also fond of circles and squares.
It's great being an artist in Ebensburg because I rent a studio, and I've been there for 25 years, and the rent has not gone up once. There are a lot of visual things that are stimulating in Ebensburg, not only in the town and the architecture, but also in the surrounding forests and rivers and things like that. And there are art patrons in the Ebensburg area that will buy artwork, which is very much appreciated. About 10 years ago, we started Art in Bloom, which is an art show here in Ebensburg, which is held in the courthouse. Part of it developed because we always had to travel somewhere else to enter art shows. And so finally we got Ebensburg to start their own art show, and people have been very supportive of it. We don't juror anybody out of it. Anybody can get in the show. And there are actually now people from other towns that come here to get in the show. I really like living here in Ebensburg because it's a smaller town. I like the weather. Even though Ebensburg gets a lot of snow, I enjoy that part of living in Ebensburg. It's just a beautiful town, a picturesque town, and the people are very friendly, and they like the arts.
I'm Cecilia Farbaugh, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Cambria County Historical Society Spirit Night. In 1998, I was on a bus tour, and I was in Charlottesville, Virginia. We ended up seeing this thing called Spirit Night, and I thought this would be something we could do at the Historical Society.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Buck. I'd like to welcome you to my house.
We did our first one in 1999, and we do it as a fundraiser for the Historical Society. Spirit Night is a walking tour, and we start at the courthouse, and we work our way up to the Historical Society.
This is a rare moment in the history of the region. Let's listen.
As we're coming up the street, we stop at little houses, or we've used the jail, and we stop and we go in, and there's a skit, and there's somebody portraying people, and we just go in and watch the skit. And then we move to the next spot.
I thought I'd never see you north of Somerset.
We do it every other year, the middle of September. It is not a Halloween or a spooky thing. Some of our things are really about history, and some of our things are kind of just fun. The first 3, we just used a general theme. The last 3, we did the hobo years. And we did O Pioneers to tell the history of Cambria County. And then the last one we did was just last year was the Nifty 50s. We find different characters in all those different times. Some of the people that we have portrayed have been Eleanor Roosevelt came to town, Jimmy Stewart came to town. At one point we did a speakeasy, and that was real neat. One of the other things we did that was really neat was there was a man by the name of Old Smitty, and he was in the jail. And so we portrayed him at the courthouse. And then when you got to the jail, which was probably 3 or 4 skits later, he was there. And people were like, huh, how could he be at the courthouse and at the jail at the same time? But we didn't tell them until later that it was a set of identical twins who were doing this. It's just a fun experience. I just really enjoy doing it. And the townspeople are very supportive. We have this whole cast of people who come and help us. They're not necessarily from town, but they're into this. They love doing this. As soon as we say we're doing Spirit Night, everybody shows up. Once you come and do Spirit Night, you come back each year, every time we do it.
I'm Jack Coyle. I'm Director of Communications for Mount Aloysius College. I spoke recently to Mount Aloysius President Thomas P. Foley.
Mount Aloysius has been part of the Ebensburg, greater Cambria community for now over 160 years.
President Foley has been at Mount Aloysius since August 1st, 2010. He's the 13th president of the school, so we're very excited to have him with us.
The college started off as an academy, educating young girls in what we would now consider to be a K-12 format. Over the years, it became almost a finishing school, with half of the students drawn from this immediate area, and the other half coming from all over New England and the Mid-Atlantic states, from as far away as Cuba and Latin America. At a certain point, back in 1939, the founding Sisters of Mercy realized that they wanted to do more than simply provide the equivalent of a very fine high school education. They began the first junior college in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which was Mount Aloysius Junior College. After a certain period of time, the college went coeducational and of course became a 4-year institution, still with a focus right here in Cambria County and of course with the neighboring Blair, Somerset, Huntington, Clearfield counties as well. Community service is a fundamental part of the Mount Aloysius way. It is a part of our mission. Even though we're not primarily an institution for Catholic students, we still very much follow the tenets of the founding Sisters of Mercy, and service is primary among them. It's part of the credo. It's really written into the ethic of Mount Aloysius, and it's part of the real partnership between Mount Aloysius College, Ebensburg, and Cambria. Education is the primary connection. Community service is the secondary connection. But the third and significant connection is in the theater arts and in cultural activities. Mount Aloysius graduates are fundamental parts of theater in this whole region. You're almost guaranteed to find not one, but a number of Mount Aloysius folks, either behind the lens, so to speak, or right out on the stage. So there's a real fundamental connection and an historic relationship between the community of Ebensburg and the college that we call Mount Aloysius. It has grown over 160 years, and we expect it to continue to grow over the next century.
My name's Matt File. I'm the Director of Recreation here in the borough of Ebensburg, and I'm going to speak on the recreation and the facilities that the Ebensburg Borough has. Memorial Field was actually the old Central Cambria football field. We had a grant to do a recreation corridor, and Memorial Field now has 3 baseball fields, a soccer field, a brand new up-to-date playground, 3 outdoor basketball courts. YPCC is the Young People's Community Center, sort of Ebensburg's YMCA. That was actually opened up in 2002. A bunch of community members, they wanted to buy a house and open that and renovate that for the kids. Ebensburg did receive a DCNR grant, and thus the recreation center came about. And it was all because the community members were concerned about the kids. We have programming for all ages, a lot of basketball leagues, indoor soccer leagues. We have an all-star cheerleading group. We also have a full weight room and cardio room. How many boroughs or municipalities have a lake inside their boundaries, almost in the heart of their town? And it's just a great benefit, great attraction to community members. Fishing, ice fishing. People do 5Ks around the lake. We have Ebensburg Homecoming down there. The pool has been here since 1936. It's one of the oldest pools in the state. 2 years ago, we did $1 million pool renovation. Now we have a state-of-the-art pool with beach entry, 20-foot water slide, lap lanes, a separate tot area, heaters now. Nobody in this area has a pool like we do right now. Vicki Askew, a longtime resident of Ebensburg. She is a tennis enthusiast. 80-some years old, was still playing tennis, was actually still traveling down to Altoona 3 or 4 times a day to play tennis. Vicki Askew is actually the mother of Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE. So she approached Vince, and through the McMahon Foundation, Ebensburg got their tennis center because Vince did not want his mother traveling down to Altoona 3 or 4 times a day. Ghost Town Trail isn't owned by Ebensburg, but we're lucky enough to have the trail come right through the heart of Ebensburg. That's why we did the recreation corridor. From Memorial Field to the Young People's Community Center to Lake Rowena to the pool, it all follows the Ghost Town Trail. It is probably one of the most used recreational facilities within the borough. It's a tight-knit, close community. Just tell them, what you're thinking about doing, and someone grabs and run with it. By the time it's all said and done, you have 10, 20, 30 people. They just want to get involved. They love their town. You go to other bigger communities, they're closing their pools down or closing their recreation centers down. And just such a small community, these facilities are busy all year round, and it's nice to see that these people take advantage of that.
My name is Joe Scora, and I'm here to talk about Bishop Carroll Catholic High School today. Bishop Carroll opened combining St. Joseph's Academy, which was on Horner Street, and Aquinas Hall, which is right on our property. And the boys attended Aquinas Hall on our property as the girls attended St. Joseph's Academy. In June of 1962, the building was dedicated. It is named after the 4th bishop, Bishop Carroll, from the Altoona-Johnstown Diocese. Our students are able every day to stop in our chapel right in the middle center of our school and take some time to pray. We also start every class with prayer, and I think that's the biggest aspect of our school, prayer, and everything we do focuses on our faith. I am the Director of Athletics and Public Relations and also a teacher at Bishop Carroll. I teach English 9. We have a dedicated faculty who really, I think, go above and beyond to work with these students, but we also have students who are just willing to go the extra mile in the classroom and outside of the classroom, and for them to come back to us and say, hey, thanks, Mr. Scora, for this little bit of advice, or when you came to my game last week, or whatever. It's just rewarding, and I think we know at Bishop Carroll that our students appreciate what we do, but also I think our students know that we appreciate them too. Bishop Carroll is really important to me because it's a great place where everybody in the community comes together to learn with faith as our foundation. And there's just something about Bishop Carroll that makes me proud to work there, and our students, I think, proud to attend. I really like Ebensburg because people are just very friendly. And when you're in town that you always have a friendly smile from someone who says good morning, good afternoon. They know what's going on in our school, and they congratulate us or ask questions. And you have a lot of the small hometown feel, but you also have people that are doing amazing things, just like we were a huge, huge area.
There's more to come as we explore the history of the Candlelight building, see how one class is bringing education and community together, and take a look back at Ebensburg's past as we look towards the future. But first, show your support for WPSU in Ebensburg by making a pledge. Thanks.
Don't touch that dial. More of Our Town Ebensburg coming up in just a couple minutes. The phone volunteers from Ebensburg, the peanut galleries from Ebensburg, we're here taking your calls at 1-800-245-9779. Good evening. I'm Greg Peterson. We got more of the show coming up, and now's your opportunity to become a member of this public TV station. People who did that, like John and Jay Anderson of Ponte Verde, Florida. Okay. Patrick and Georgine Bowe of Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. We also heard from Lindsay Hobie and Jeffrey Walker there in Ebensburg. And also we heard from Judy Illig of Ebensburg. All these people called in, made a pledge. Call right now with your pledge at 800-245-9779. If you make a pledge of a certain amount, we have a great thank you gift. And here's Whitney to tell you all about it.
We do. We would love to thank you with a copy of tonight's program on DVD. That can be yours when you make a contribution of $75. There are some great bonus features on this as well. When you make your contribution of $120, we can send you 2 of those DVDs. But you gotta call 1-800-245-9779 and show your support for great programs like Our Town Ebensburg and stories from your friends and neighbors, like your mayor, Mayor Randy and his wife, Cindy Desco. And you know where they are? They're hopefully winning big in Las Vegas. And I talked to Mayor Desco last week and said, are you gonna come join us in the studio? And he's like, no, I'm gonna be in Las Vegas, but he's watching online, and we thank him for that. And he was great. He kicked off the whole show, and he was a huge supporter of the entire project from the very beginning. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're missing ya. Also, we want to thank Dr. and Mrs. Sursakar and Maya Naveen for making their pledge from Ebensburg. Thank you so much. Also, Colleen and Jim Leahy from Ebensburg. Thank you to the Leahys. And we also heard from, oh, this is a long one, the Oldies group. We heard from Jerry, Susie, Jack, and Teresa, Jimmy, Patty, and Barb, and Dave, and Sharon. This is the Susie Hoover family. Thank you so much for making a pledge. And we had an anonymous pledge from Ebensburg as well. You are the next one we want to thank at 1-800-245-9779. We know Ebensburg is a very close-knit, tight community with some amazing stories about your local pride. And now is the time to step up and show how much these stories mean to you, mean to your community, and how much it means to you to be able to see them come to life on public television, because it's your investment in public television that makes them possible. 1-800-245-9779. Be counted right now by making that contribution, that pledge of support.
We have 4 lines open right now, so give us a call at 1-800-245-9779. You know, hey, check them out in the back. Hey, so one of the things I love about the Our Town experiences is I get to go across these towns in central Pennsylvania and spend time in them. And some of them I know a little bit about, and some of them I don't know a little bit about. And Ebensburg was one of those that I've learned a lot about while I spent time there. And every one of these sections, I see something I want to check out. I want to take my daughter to see Mid's Candies. I want to go to, so what I just saw there, I want to check out the Ghost Trail. And what I just saw in that one is the Historical Society Spirit Night. I think what a cool event. And Cecilia's back there in her hat on the phone ready to take your call. There she's waving, absolutely. So what great wonderful things that are so unique to Ebensburg, and what a wonderful thing to celebrate. And that's what we want to do as your public television station. We want to celebrate these wonderful towns across central PA, and your pledge dollars go to support that. So we want to thank some folks who have said, sign me up, that's what I'm all about. So we want to thank Jessica Gonzalez, Starla Wasaki, Nicole Spockhart, Carol Hoover, and the Coffee Club, all from Ebensburg, calling in. All right, thank you. We want to thank Sherry Thomas, who called in from Windham, Maine, and Sherry says, what a great place to grow up. What a nice small town, and I think we can all agree to that. What a great small town Ebensburg is. April Weiland of Loretto calling in to pledge her support for your local public television station, WPSU. We also want to thank Dan Byer of Ebensburg, and Dan is also calling in for L.R. Kimball of Ebensburg. And we also want to thank Justin Koss of Ebensburg. Justin and Danae Koss calling in. Thank you. Whitney's giving Danae a shout out. That is the thank yous I have, but I know there are many more coming in. We gave that goal a little while ago of trying to get to 200 calls. We're just getting 91. We're getting across that 100 mark. But as Whitney always says, you don't want to be the person that no one's talking about tomorrow in Evansburg, because I'm telling you, this is what people are going to be talking about tomorrow in Evansburg. Greg.
Call right now with your pledge. Yes, we're trying to get to 200 pledges tonight. We're at 95, I guess, right now. So we have a ways to go and a short time to get there, as the song goes. 1-800-245-9779. Thanks out to former Evansburg Mayor Charlie Moyer and Rose. Thank you very much for calling in, Your Honor, your former honor. He still has honor, doesn't he? Okay. And also we heard from Denny and Sue Glass in Evansburg. So people calling in, making their pledge at 1-800-245-9779. Don't forget, for a pledge of $75 or more, we can send you a DVD of the show you're watching right now, Our Town Ebensburg. For a $120 pledge, we can send you 2 copies. Keep one, send one away. Or just put 2 of them in 2 different TVs and have stereo TV. 1-800-245-9779 or online at WPSU.org. We've had a lot of people calling in tonight from outside of the area, broadcast area, because they're watching online at WPSU.org/live. You can still call them. They can still catch a lot of the show. If you call your friends up who moved out and say, hey, fire up the old internet browser there and go to WPSU.org/live. You can watch tonight's show online. It's a great project that we've been doing now for almost 18 years. We certainly appreciate the support we've gotten throughout Central Pennsylvania, but tonight we're here raising the funds to purchase, produce, and broadcast the programs that you watch on WPSU. Call now, join the excitement in our studio, and make your pledge.
Todd Salkeld from Ebensburg, thank you so much for being counted among the supporters of Our Town Ebensburg tonight on WPSU, your local PBS station, because it's your contribution and those from your friends and neighbors that are helping make local stories possible right here in your area, in our hometown. 1-800-245-9779. Join Todd, join the others, join all of the names that you've heard tonight so we can thank you as well. Kevin and I have said it, you don't want to be left out when you're walking around town tomorrow and people said, hey, did I hear your name last night on WPSU? We are going to thank each and every person who calls in, because it's so important that you are recognized as supporting stories from your hometown, supporting stories from Ebensburg. And there are more stories coming your way. Let me tell you, we're going to learn about the Candlelight Business Building, which is really cool. We are going to visit the Fairview Bed and Breakfast, and actually Rosemary Kramer is back here at the phone. She's on the line right now. And there's a great story coming up by Vicki Bertolino, and she's going to tell us about some memories of Evansburg in the past and how it, paves the way for the future, and that's a really sweet story coming your way, and many, many more. Stay tuned. 1-800-245-9779. Looking to hear from 200 folks in Ebensburg to raise the dollars it takes to pay for programs just like this. And we'd love to thank you when you make a $75 contribution with a copy of tonight's program on DVD. $120 contribution, 2 of those DVDs. Let's step up and be a part of the celebration right now.
1-800-245-9779 is the number to call to make your pledge of support for Our Town Ebensburg. And we have a number of thank yous of folks who are calling in. And I believe I was trying to check out the phone lines that are open right there. We've got about 3 right now, 3 or 4 there. So give us your call, 1-800-245-9779. Join that popular kids club of saying that I supported our town, Ebensburg. And joining that club is Advanced Shipping Technologies of Ebensburg. Thank you for calling in your pledge of support. We want to thank Jerry and Paul Belpowski of Hastings calling in. Little applause for them back there. We want to thank Susan Barber of Evansburg for calling in. Shout out to Susan there. We want to thank Mark Bertolino of Evansburg, also calling in. Continued applause for Mike. We want to thank Kelly Tremmel, John, Kelly, Will, Sam, and Jack Tremmel. Thank you for your pledge of support for your local public television station, WPSU. And we want to thank Tina Illig of Evansburg, also calling in her pledge of support. We thank you for your pledge of support for this partnership between your local public television station, WPSU, and the community of Evansburg. And it is our pleasure to bring you these stories tonight. And basically your call of support, if you can put a dollar value on it, is to say, I want to see more of these local programs that celebrate my people, my community, the people that I care about, and this is the only place you're going to see it on your local public television station. No other station in this market is going to take the time to tell good stories about good people, and that's what your call is making the support for. 1-800-245-9779. I believe Greg has a special guest that some of you may recognize, right, Greg?
Why, yes, I do. Joining me in the studio is Danae Koss, who's the manager, community development director for Ebensburg. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. She was instrumental in helping us get the program up and running and gave us all the resources, let us use their building for the screening and for all sorts of stuff. So thank you very much. What do you think so far of the program?
Thanks for having us. It's great. It was such a fun project to work with and to work with everyone here and just to hear everyone's stories. It was amazing to see it all come together.
Now, why do you think Ebensburg's got a certain pride in showing their stories to everybody?
Yeah, obviously. Everyone's got a story, and there's so much pride in this room, and it's just great to be here and see it.
So was it hard to convince people to participate?
No, I was concerned that we wouldn't have enough, and it turned out that we had so many people that were interested, and we ended up having, I think, a 75-minute show, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a lot more footage than that, but we edited it down to a reasonable amount. So I want you to look in that camera there. And this one over here, where he's waving, and tell them what the people to do.
We would like to call and take your pledges now at 1-800-245-9779. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Danae.
Thank you. Thanks
Certainly
for having
appreciate
us.
all your support.
Thank you.
Whitney?
That's right. We want to hear from you. Step up. You know, Danae was so instrumental in this entire program throughout the process. And, you know, the Borough, the Main Street program, also the Cambria County Historical Society. You're seeing shots of the Historical Society behind every single one of our storytellers. You know, there's some of our Historical Society friends right there. You know, so many folks stepped up to support the program throughout the entire project. And you're seeing the results of the community coming together in tonight's program. Now we're asking you as members of the Ebensburg community to step up and do your part as well at 1-800-245-9779. Be counted. We're looking for 200 calls of support tonight around tonight's broadcast. We have one line open. There's Julie Feather, another one of the great storytellers who stepped up tonight. Here's another one who called to be counted, and one of our storytellers. You're going to hear from her soon. Trisha McFadden. She'll be coming up, her story in the next segment. Trisha, Joe, Joey, and Tristan McFadden, thank you so much for your support. You'll hear from Trisha soon. Also, we had an anonymous gift from Ebensburg. You know who you are. Thank you so much. Also, Joe Lutz, Borough Councilman. Thank you, Joe, for calling in. Oh, some bells are falling over there. Some excitement. Also, Jim and Polly Myers from Ebensburg, thank you so much for your support. And we had many of our phone volunteers who stepped up tonight as well. We want to thank the Pilcher family, Sam and Molly Pilcher, who made their gifts. Also, the Corin family made their contributions, and Rosemary Kramer and many others who we'll thank in just a moment. You're the next one we want to thank. 1-800-245-9779. Kevin?
Great. We have inched past that 100 mark. We're getting in the 108 call range, but still edging towards that goal of 200. So we continue to want to thank people of Evansburg and the surrounding communities across central Pennsylvania who are supporting our town Ebensburg tonight. And what a great show it has been, but there's much more ahead, as Whitney said. We want to thank Mary Ann Wagner, Dawn and Mary Ann Zafuto, who we heard that name a few times tonight, Wagner. She grew up in the Burg, and she's calling in from Boalsburg tonight to support our town Ebensburg. Thank you, Dawn and Mary Ann. We want to thank the Four Seasons Pet Hotel of Ebensburg for calling in tonight. Four Seasons Pet Hotel. We want to thank Mary and James Dotson, also of Evansburg. Mary and Jane, oh yeah, a little clapping for them in the studio tonight. We want to thank Sharon Zosky of Lilly for calling in to support our town Evansburg. Yeah, shout out for Lilly there, absolutely. And those are just some of the names that are calling in to support their local public television station, WPSU, your local public television station. And as you can see, we have a few phones open right now, and we are excited to hear from you. Won't you be the next person to call in to say, I support our town Ebensburg. Great storytelling by my neighbors, by my friends, by the communities in central Pennsylvania, and to say, I want to see more programming like this on my local television station, my local public television station, WPSU. Greg.
We have 111 pledges so far. We're trying to get to 200 pledges tonight. So a lot of pledges still to go. So call with your pledge. Let's see, Bill and Dorothy Leary of Evansburg. Thank you very much. Marianne Templeton of Evansburg called in. And Bill and Rosemary Cox of Evansburg called in. So we got people calling in, making pledges. Don't forget, for a pledge of $75 or more, we can send you a DVD of the show you're watching tonight as a thank you gift, and you become a member of the station. $120, we can send you 2 copies, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover, or we can send you a reminder in the mail. You can send us a check. We want to make it as easy as possible. But the important thing is that you become a member, because your dollars go for the programming here on WPSU. You may pay a cable bill, you may pay a satellite bill, but none of those dollars come to public television, although a lot of those dollars, most of those dollars, go to support channels you may never ever watch. None of it comes to public television. That's why we're coming to you tonight to ask for your support. 1-800-245-9779. Now, a couple minutes ago, all the phones were busy. Now we have about 4 phones open. Call if you had trouble getting through. You can get through right now.
You know, it is a little quiet, Greg. 1-800-245-9779. That's the number to call to show your support. Like another one of our storytellers who we just heard from, and you're going to hear from very soon, Teresa Jacoby. Teresa and Brandon Jacoby. Teresa is going to tell us about the Candlelight business building and its history in town, and the great work ethic that Ebensburg has. So that's a great story that's coming up in the next segment of Our Town Ebensburg. Stay tuned for that. But thank you so much, Teresa, for all that you did for this project and for a great story and your support of Our Town Ebensburg. You're the next one we want to thank at 1-800-245-9779. Remember, your $75 contribution will send you a copy of tonight's program on DVD, our way of saying thanks for showing your support of the program. $120 contribution will thank you with 2 DVDs, but you got to step up and call so that you can be thanked, and so that everyone in Ebensburg knows that you support stories from your hometown in Ebensburg. We've mentioned it before. There are some great premiere parties going on in town tonight. We know that the Women of the Moose are having one, and I think that the Men of the Moose also called in, I'm hearing.
Men of the Moose?
The Men of the Moose called in too and wanted to be counted as well. Also, Ebensburg VFW is having a party, and Pour on Center, who, when we went to the preview party, we had a little sneak preview for our storytellers as well. And, you know, our crew actually, we had our dinner at Pour on Center, so we're excited that they're having a preview party there as well. But, you know, we're not hearing a lot of phone calls from these locations. So I gotta say, we want to give more shout outs, but we gotta hear from you guys. 1-800-245-9779. Step up and show your support for stories from your hometown right now. Kevin?
Yeah, they must be having such great parties at those premiere parties that they're kind of so busy they don't have time to call, but we do want to hear from them. And I tell you, Whitney and Greg and I were there for dinner, and it was just an excellent evening. We just enjoyed immensely the Pour restaurant there. So we have many thank yous to pass along. We want to thank Perry and Kimberly Stokalis of Lilly for calling in. Both Perry and Kimberly Stokalis. I hope I got that right. 1-800-2... What is it? Stokalis. Yeah, there we go. I learn something every time I do one of these. Grace, Jack, and Laura and Thaddeus Wolf of Ebensburg. Thank you for calling in your pledge of support. Again, Grace, Jack, Laura, and Thaddeus Wolf. We're glad to hear from you tonight, your pledge of support for our town, Ebensburg. We want to thank Kathleen Plummer of Waynesboro, Virginia, for calling in. Kathy and I believe it's John or Jan Tishak of calling in to say they support our town, Ebensburg, and are enjoying the program tonight. We also want to thank James and Patty Fox of Loretto who called in. They called in memory of Charles and Doris Fox, longtime residents of Ebensburg, and that's another touching thing. We often hear from folks who have had relatives that spend time in Ebensburg and other local communities across central Pennsylvania, and it is a nice way to remember them. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about this series is sometimes when I'm watching some of the local communities, it sparks memories of loved ones that I've enjoyed and spent time with, and that's one of the great things about the Our Town series. It is supporting great storytelling and preserving stories for generations ahead. I believe we're going to go over to Greg, and Greg may have an update on how many numbers we have, right?
81 more pledges to get to 200. So 81 more pledges. Let you know. Pick it up, Ebensburg. If you've been thinking about it, I'll call next break. Call now. Call with your pledge at 800-245-9779. Thank you to Blaze and Teresa Novotny. Thank you very much. See, jump in. That's it. The Novotnys. And also Bonnie Rosinski from Loretto, Pennsylvania called in. Call in with your pledge at 800-245-9779. We're trying to get to 200 pledges tonight. We're 80 pledges to go. Call at 800-245-9779. Go online to WPSU.org. Got a lot of great programming to come, but we're looking for those pledges right now. Whitney?
That's right. And we want to thank Dick Davis, historian of the First United Church of Christ, for calling in and making a pledge of support. Thank you so much for that pledge of support. Also, Mary and Richard Rossman from Ebensburg as well. 1-800-245-9779. Going back to more stories from your friends and neighbors. Phones are a little quiet. You can write that phone number down, though. We will be here during the next segment to take your phone calls so that you can be thanked when we're back. But the important thing is to step up and be counted for stories from your hometown, stories from your friends and neighbors that matter to your community. 1-800-245-9779. And thank you so much for supporting Stories from Ebensburg.
You can also make your pledge at WPSU.org. Click on Contribute at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks.
I'm Lou Ripley, and my wife Jeanette Ripley is also here, and we are the innkeepers of the Noon Collins Inn, a bed and breakfast and banquet facility here in Ebensburg. We completely restored an old mansion here in town. It was originally the home of a judge, Philip Noon. It was finished in 1834. And then the second generation in his family, Philip Collins, was a builder of railroads. In 1907, a wealthy Pittsburgh industrialist bought the property from the family, built the auditorium, which we use for our banquet hall. We now call it the Great Hall. And he donated it to the community for the use of the youth of the community. And it stayed like that for the second 75 years. Then the borough built a new borough building, and they essentially abandoned what became the Noon Collins Inn. They were going to tear it down and make a parking lot, and we saved it for the community. We opened in 1986. People come from all over Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia. We're a convenient stop on people from Eastern Canada who go south for the winter, and they stop here on the way down or on the way back. My wife speaks French, so she gets to practice her French a little bit. We have a lot of repeat guests that come. Some have come ever since we've opened, the ones that are still alive, which is very nice, you know, just like family. Everybody that comes feels like they're at home, or they walk in and they say, oh, this is just like my grandmother had. When we first opened in the mid-'80s, we received several awards. One, which we're very proud of, was from WPSX. I think you've heard of them. You called it a Great American Design Award. Changes come slowly in any community. We might not think of them as we just go on our day-to-day business, but we're reminded of how really beautiful Ebensburg is through the eyes of the guests that come to see us. We hear from the out-of-town people that come, everything looks so nice. It's very gratifying.
My name is Teresa Jacoby, and I'm going to be talking about the Candlelight and small-town work ethic. The Candlelight was built in 1964 by John and Angeline Jacoby. The Candlelight started off as a motel, then added the restaurant and a lounge. While building the Candlelight, John Jacoby broke his neck and his fingers were paralyzed, so he used household items and invented ways to use them to do everyday tasks. So when he was physically able, he went back and continued to work. The Jacobys worked non-stop around the clock. Back when they built the Candlelight, they borrowed from the Small Business Administration close to $500,000 and then put forth their additional personal savings. When it came to the end, $700,000 they invested into Evansburg. Within 2 years of opening, the Candlelight was nationally recognized in Hospitality magazine for its fine cuisine and excellent service. One of the most memorable things about the Candlelight as you're driving through on Route 22 through Evansburg is the big red roof. Inside, in its heyday, there was a kidney-shaped bar, which was very unique. There was also a 300-guest restaurant, a balcony. There were retail outlets. About 1,600 weddings were held in the facility throughout the 35 years of existence. Giving back to the community was always very important to the Jacoby family, and often the St. Vincent de Paul would send people who were homeless to the motel, and the Jacobys would give them a place to stay in the motel. They would feed them and find them employment within the facility and help get them back on their feet, and that was always very important to them, to help others. The building still stands today and operates as a nursing home. John Jacoby's story, that shows that no matter what you're faced with, continue to work. My family has called Evansburg their home since 1912. What I love about Evansburg is the work ethic, the loyalty that Evansburgers have to one another by supporting each other's businesses, by committing back to the community. I serve right now as a borough council member, and the support that I receive from the residents is amazing.
My name is Jerry Beltoski. I'm the International Program Director at Bishop Carroll Catholic High School, and our story is about the International Program at Bishop Carroll Catholic High School in Ebensburg. The building was built by David E. Park. He was head of the Crucible Steel Company from Pittsburgh. That was his home. It then transferred into becoming the Ebensburg Inn and the Elmer Daly Hotel. In 1959, the Bishop of the Johnstown-Altoona Diocese formed an all-girls school, St. Joseph Academy here in Ebensburg, and also an all-boys school, Aquinas Hall. They purchased the 34-acre tract of land where Aquinas Hall sat and decided to build Bishop Carroll. Aquinas Hall was used during those first years of Bishop Carroll as the home for all of the freshmen. All of their classes were in Aquinas Hall. In the mid-'70s, all of the students then transferred over to the main building at Bishop Carroll, and Aquinas Hall became the home for the Carmelite community of the Ward Sisters. The administration at the school at that time wanted to utilize the building. They decided that instead of having homestays for the international students at Bishop Carroll, that they would instead provide a home for them right on campus. In 2009, the first 5 students entered, and we've really grown since then to 25 students. We're very fortunate at Bishop Carroll to provide for our international students a home-like atmosphere. They are a part of a big, large family, and certainly it's nice that we're there all living together. It's a benefit for all of us. It's a win-win situation because we're all learning just different cultures and understanding that, we're not the only people that live in the world, that there are people who have different thoughts, different customs. And so it's really nice that we, not just our students here, get to benefit from understanding their culture, but all of the international students have the opportunity to be involved in all of our activities at the school and all of our holidays. So they are certainly learning all about our culture as well. As a parent, I know that I would certainly be looking for a very safe environment to send my students if I were sending my child abroad. And that's something that we certainly make sure that the parents know, that they have chosen a wonderful small town, very safe environment. The local community is very loving and caring and kind. And that's very comforting that somebody's here to take care of their students and that they are living for 10 months out of the year in a very safe environment like Evansburg, Pennsylvania.
I'm Tricia Giannoni McFadden. I'm here to talk about the connection between education and community as an instructor of St. Francis University School of Business. My Marketing 404 class, it's Marketing Management. It's a capstone course in the School of Business at St. Francis University. And it consists of about 18 students, mostly upperclassmen, primarily seniors. And we are actually walking theory into the marketplace by taking our students out there and working with real clients in our local community and doing a full-blown marketing project and proposal. Our local clients include Valwood Farms, which is right outside of Evansburg, Evansburg Main Street Partnership, Pour on Center, which is a local restaurant here right in town, as well as Uplifting Athletes, which is a nonprofit organization at St. Francis University. As we begin the marketing analysis, we start with the basic research. From that, then, we think of where our marketing goals need to be. We look at the mission of the organization, think about their primary objectives, how to reach their target, a primary and a secondary, as well as then how to implement those ideas into the market share. We walk theory into the marketplace, and what way is better to learn how to do something than doing it? It's a relationship that we foster one another. It's mutually beneficial, as that's how our communities grow through our younger generation. And how do they learn better than tapping into our community resources and the wonderful people that we have with these local businesses? This is something I always wanted to do because I have a background in marketing, practitioner in the field, as well as my scholarship through the years. So this is finally the time I can bring the two together because that's how it works. Theory meets reality, and it's when you finally see that student have that awe moment and they see it finally meets and it makes sense to them. And they can see that they don't have to leave theory behind in the classroom after they graduate. It's not a textbook that gets closed. It's just the beginning. What's the most important resource that we have is our students, our children. And to use that within our community only makes sense.
I'm Rosemary Kramer. My husband and I own the Fairview Bed and Breakfast. It's right outside of town, right on the edge, across from the entrance to the fairgrounds. The building was built over 100 years ago by Sarah and Ada Gallagher. And we actually have 2 rooms that are named after them. One's the Gallagher room. I thought it was only fitting to name one after them. And one is the Hellison, which was the name of the boarding school when they built it. And it was a very prestigious boarding school. They said there were dignitaries from other countries would send their children to Evansburg because of this school. Then in the 40s, it was made into a nursing home. And in the 70s, it was made into apartments. There were 10 apartments. My husband saw it was up for sale, and he asked me about it. I felt I needed something in my life that would get me out with people. So we talked about the bed and breakfast, and we decided to do that. We have guests from all over the world. We've had a lot of international guests, and we have guests from Evansburg that walk to the bed and breakfast. They just need a night away, and it's someplace that is close by, but they're still away for the evening. We'll rent it for family reunions. We had a family from California come in and take the whole place. They hadn't been back here in over 40 years, and they had a wonderful time reconnecting with local family that could come in and visit them there. And there's a lot of satisfaction when people come in and they see it. It makes me feel good because we've decorated it ourselves. We've done everything ourselves. I always loved to entertain. That was my favorite thing to do. So when the guests come in, I spend as much time as I can talking to them. Most like to sit and talk, or even after breakfast, we'll sit and talk for a long time, and that's my favorite part. We probably spend as much time talking as we do working. Some of our guests are family now, really, and that they come back several times a year. I meet new people every day, and I love it. Evansburg is a wonderful community. I love the people. The people are all really good. They're willing to help each other, and if I needed anything, I could call on so many people from the community that I feel like I've always been part of it.
Hi, I'm Vicki Bertolino, and I'm here to tell you about some interesting things of our downtown area. I lived uptown growing up. I would run errands or go shopping for my mother and just lived the whole life of a small town, hometown girl. Oh, the Valley Dairy, it's now called Amici's. I can remember going after school downtown to meet our friends. We'd run after school to run downtown to see who'd get their favorite booth. And it's the first time I ever knew that there was a cherry Coke, a vanilla Coke, or chocolate phosphate. We'd all meet there for French fries. And on Sundays after church, we'd go there for chicken and waffles. Tibbetts Drugstore was a 2-generation owner. You went there for your prescriptions, but the best thing was all the little trinkets you could buy there, the gift wrapping, just any little item that you would want, maybe for a Mother's Day gift or a special occasion gift. It was a downtown staple at one time. Sheddick's Hardware, I think, was the hub of Ebensburg. You could go there for anything that you wanted to on the first floor as far as hardware goes. The second floor was all furniture, dishes, glasses, silverware. But the magical part of that store was the downstairs basement. Especially at Christmas time, it was full of toys all year long, but at Christmas it was more magical. The Metropolitan Hotel later became a bank. In the 50s, it was a Metropolitan Hotel. It was a magical place where you would go in to eat, and there was a big baby grand piano in the corner, and the rug was all red velvet, and the lights were just sparkling with chandeliers. And I can remember going in there with my grandmother and my father and my mother and playing my first piano piece there. Now, what other town would allow a person to go in the middle of the day with a little child and play their first piano piece when people were eating their lunch? It was wonderful. When I was young growing up in town, Veterans Park was our park to play in. So we'd see people with baby strollers taking their children for walks. We'd roller skate, the kids would be playing ball. But the most important thing to me was when I was young, I saw men sitting on benches and looking at the statue, the memorial, or people walking around and looking at the names on the bronze tablets, and I couldn't understand why those men were so enthralled in that. But later, as I grew up and was marching in the high school band or the Cambria Cadets Drum and Bugle Corps, and we had the Memorial Day services at the park, I realized then what it meant to those men who served their country. I think Ebensburg has evolved. You can see it in almost all the buildings going through town. The pride and the love that we show to the future generations, it'll keep our community united.
Our Town Ebensburg, a look at the Cambria County community through the eyes of its residents. Support for Our Town Ebensburg comes from Ebensburg Borough, serving as the seat of government for Cambria County, a residential community with a vibrant downtown, offering a host of recreational activities and annual events, committed to providing a safe, Clean community with a distinctive quality of life. Ebensburgpa.com. St. Francis University, offering more than 50 programs of study, hundreds of student activities, and 22 Division I athletic teams. Reach higher, go far. Information available at francis.edu. Martin Oil Company and Martin General Stores, proudly serving Central Pennsylvania for over 50 years. Bishop Carroll Catholic High School, home of the Huskies, with a mission to educate the whole student in spirit, heart, mind, and body. Information at bishopcarroll.com. Mount Aloysius College, with students, staff, and faculty all proud to be a part of life in Ebensburg and the southern Allegheny region. Information at mtaloy.edu. State Farm Agent Kim Springer, 301 East High Street, offering auto, home, life, and financial services. Information at 472-9131. And from viewers like you, thank you. Of the storytellers, the volunteers. It's their stories that you've seen come to life tonight on the world broadcast premiere of Our Town Ebensburg. And I want to let you know, beyond the 26 stories that you saw tonight with the 26 storytellers, there are 63 names in those credits, which is a real testament to the amount of people who felt that it was important to step forward and share stories about Our Town Ebensburg. It's an amazing amount of community spirit and pride that Ebensburgers have about your community. And tonight we're asking you to step up and show your support right now. 1-800-245-9779. The night is not over yet. We want to let you be counted. I'm Whitney Sheridan. I'm a producer here at WPSU, and it has been such a privilege and an honor to be able to work with all of those volunteers that you saw just there listed in the credits. And we want to thank you next when you step up and be counted among the folks who were a part of Our Town Ebensburg. 1-800-245-9779. This is our last break of the night. Give us a call. Remember, when you make that contribution of $75, we can thank you with a copy of Our Town Ebensburg on DVD with some great bonus features. Your $120 contribution, and we will send you 2 DVDs. It's up to you, though, to be counted. Step up, just like Joan Van Dyke, who made a contribution online. She's from Evansburg, and this is such a wonderful comment that I have to share. She said, I've lived many, many places in my 86 years, including the great New York City, where I witnessed historic events such as the 1937 flight of the Hindenburg, the celebration of Times Square in August of 1945 at the end of World War II, and the soldiers triumphantly coming home up the Hudson River. But there is no place like our small town, Ebensburg. Ebensburg is a wonderful, family-oriented town, and I am so happy I live here now. And Joan stepped up and did her part, and now we are challenging you to do the same. 1-800-245-9779. Lindsay?
Thanks, Whitney. And we have some more thank yous to people who called in and made that pledge of support. First, I just want to say phones are open. If you have been waiting for your chance to call, this is it. I know we get engrossed in the programs, but now program's over. You can make that call and talk to all these great folks from Ebensburg who came in tonight just to hear from you. So make that call, 1-800-245-9779. A few people who did make that call, we want to say thank you. Jason Belgin, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, Belgin, he's from Chicago but grew up in Ebensburg, so thank you. Diane Platt, also Diane and Don Platt from Ebensburg. Joe Skura, Joe from Bishop Carroll, helped us on the show. Thank you, Joe. David and Denise It's at Kunkelman, I think. So thank you guys so much for calling in. There is still time to make that call of support. 1-800-245-9779. Join the ranks of these fine folks who made that call in support of public television. Any amount is appreciated. Any amount goes towards supporting programs like Our Town, like the Our Town series on WPSU. You can make that basic membership pledge. $40 gets you the basic membership. $75 gets you the Our Town Ebensburg DVD, and $120 gets you 2 Our Town Ebensburg DVDs. The important thing is you make that call, 1-800-245-9779.
Do call, make your pledge at 800-245-9779. Our phone volunteers are from Ebensburg. They've been here all tonight. Our peanut gallery, they're from Ebensburg. And they're vocal, and we like it. We have to say some thanks here to Betty W. McMahon of Ebensburg. Thank you, Betty. And we heard from Ron and James Smithmeyer of Evansburg. And I don't know if this is Jeannie or Gene Wolf. Gene Wolf and Jack Wolf and the family called in the pledge. There we go. Also, Kathy and Tony Belgin of Evansburg. Thank you very much. The Amici Restaurant and Pour on Center. We heard from the big party going on. Thank you very much for that. Leo and Pearl Melnick. Thank you, Leo and Pearl from Evansburg calling in. And also Jack and Teresa Scanlon. And they want to ask Dave Hubler, where does he get his shirts? I'm not sure what that's about. Old friends, Gary, Susie, Jim and Patty, Jack and Teresa. So Dave, you have to give your shirt up. 1-800-245-9779. Call right now. $75 pledge. We can send you as a thank you gift a copy of the show, Our Town Ebensburg, for $120. We can send you 2 copies. Our way of saying thanks. Keep one, send one away. Call now. This is your last opportunity. We have a goal of 200 pledges to go. We're at about 70 more to go, so we have a ways to go to get there. 800-245-9779. Whitney?
That's right. We want to thank Laurel Lyons from Evansburg in memory of Jim and Betty Lyons. Thank you so much for the Lyons family. We want to hear from you. We are working our way towards that goal of 200 calls, and we can only get there through support from viewers just like you. 1-800-245-9779. This is our last break around Our Town Ebensburg. Only your local public TV station would turn over an entire night of broadcasting to stories about one town. But that's what WPSU does all the time, because we know that it's important to share stories about our local communities. And not only that, to let those stories be told by the residents themselves. And that's what the Our Town Project is all about. It wasn't WPSU coming into Ebensburg and saying, this is what we think is important to tell about Ebensburg, and here's what stories are going to be shown on WPSU. No, Lindsay and Carly and Bill and I came into Ebensburg and said, hey, what's important for you guys to share on the Our Town program? Go out and capture video about it and come back and tell those stories, and we'll help work together as a team to make this project possible, to make the program come to life on WPSU. And that's what you've seen tonight, and we hope in turn you'll support it right now at 1-800-245-9779. A $75 contribution will thank you with tonight's program on DVD. $120 will thank you with 2 copies of the DVD, but it's about supporting the local stories on WPSU. Right, Lindsay?
That's right, Whitney. We have a lot of phones open. All of these fine Ebensburg folk, your friends and neighbors who gave up their time, made that drive, came in tonight to take your calls. So give them some calls to take. There's still time. 1-800-245-9779 is the number to call. Make that pledge. We've got one person taking me up on that. We need some more. We want to get to those 200 phone calls. I still think we can do it. 70 calls to go. We can do it. They'll take them really, really fast. Don't wait. We want to hear that you enjoyed Our Town Ebensburg and that you want to support the series and support public television so we can do many more towns and maybe someday come back to Ebensburg and get all of those great stories that we just could not pack into this one program. So many things. You can get all that bonus footage, that great material that couldn't quite make the broadcast program. If you get the DVD, $75 pledge will get you that DVD. $120 pledge gets you 2 DVDs. Again, you get not only the program you just saw, but a lot of the bonus content that we could not fit into due to time constraints. So lots of great stories still to hear about Ebensburg on Our Town Ebensburg, WPSU.
Call with your pledge. Joining me is Julie Feather, who is a foodie and a chef.
Yes.
And a participant in the Our Town Ebensburg project.
Absolutely.
You were in the first segment. You went to all the different restaurants in town.
Yes, it was fun. 16 different restaurants.
Did you have to taste the food at every place, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you had to verify it. You had to buy it.
I had to make sure that it was top notch.
And so you're a pastry chef?
Yes, I am.
So what recipe would you give for people now for pledge drives?
Oh, wow.
What would be the best dessert people could be eating while they're watching?
They could be having the Amici's creme brulee or a cannoli or their flourless chocolate torte or maybe a absolutely fabulous tiramisu.
Who's she, tiramisu?
I have no idea.
Sue? Who is this tiramisu we talk about? So how did you get involved in the Our Town project?
I'm originally from Ebensburg, and I moved back about a year ago, and my mother was actually one of the first creators of the Our Town the first time it was produced.
First time around, yeah.
Yes.
Many moons ago.
So I have to keep the Feather family tradition and be a part of it.
So where were you before you moved back to Evansburg?
I was in Eugene, Oregon for 14 years.
Well, there you go. So that's quite a change.
Yes, it's good to be home.
You came back home. So what do you want to tell the people to do? Look into that camera right there.
I want them to call in right now at 1-800-245-9779. Support our community, support our Town project, and WPSU.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Thank you.
Whitney?
That's right. Do as Julie says. Julie was such a great supporter of the project. You know, she and her mom came out the day that Bill and Carly came back to Ebensburg to shoot some extra footage around town of folks out and about. You may have seen a few people you know around the beginning and ending of the program. Well, Julie came out and helped us do some extra stuff those days, and so she was a huge supporter of the program. Gave us advice on where to go out and eat on some of those extra days we came to town, but we thank her and we thank everybody who stepped up and did so much for this project every step of the way. And we thank you when you call in and make that contribution, that pledge of support at 1-800-245-9779. You've heard so many names thanked tonight. We want to thank you as well when you call in and contribute around tonight's program. That $75 contribution will thank you with the DVD of tonight's show, a $120 contribution, 2 copies of the DVD. And we want to thank another person who called in. Thank you to Pat Fresh from Nicktown. Thank you, Pat, for calling in and joining your friends and neighbors in support of Our Town Ebensburg. You're one of those folks being counted tonight to support great stories on WPSU. Lindsay?
We've got some more thank yous, and again, I just want to say phones are open. There's still time to make your call, 1-800-245-9779, but we do want to thank, we got a very nice note from, I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Marika Smego, who says, I'm a 1989 graduate of Central Cambria. My parents, Mike and Kitty Smego, could not have picked a better town to raise a family. I mean, that says it all right there. Let's hear it for Ebensburg. That's fantastic. We also want to say thank you to Vince Rimillard from Ebensburg and Amy Corin, who called in from Baltimore in memory of Joan Sinkle, and Robin Ribberich from Johnstown again. Sorry if I'm saying those wrong, but we do appreciate your calling in. Still time, get that call support. We have all these great folks who came in tonight, made the effort to come here and talk to you, so do not wait. 1-800-245-9779 only takes a couple minutes. Any amount you want to contribute, maybe you can borrow a DVD from somebody else, but you just want to give a little bit extra, you know, to support public television, to support WPSU, to support the Our Town project. Any amount you feel moved to give is so appreciated. So don't wait, 1-800-245-9779.
And a thank you to Linda Newmer, I believe the name is. Whoa! Somebody knows Linda. And also Devin and Rebecca Williamson, somebody related to Danae. Danae's brother, actually, who called in a pledge of 1-800-245-9779. We're wrapping things up here. We'd like to thank everybody in Ebensburg who helped make this program possible. We'd like to thank you, but the only way that happens, if you call with your pledge at 800-245-9779 or go online to WPSU.org and make your pledge. Your support for this public TV station is important. That's why when you call, you put into motion all the great programming that you see on this public TV station. It's 1-800-245-9779 or WPSU.org. Whitney, any more names to thank?
I don't have any names right right now, Greg. You know, we've heard from so many great folks tonight who've stepped up to show their support for the Our Town Ebensburg project. You know, just like the 63 names we saw in the credit and the 26 storytellers that we saw on air. We want to thank everyone who's been a part of tonight's project and a part of tonight's broadcast by being a part of Our Town Ebensburg. You guys stepped up to support the local stories from your friends and neighbors, and we've had so much fun in the studio tonight. And we've heard from Julie Feather and Danae Koss.
Yeah, we had a great time.
We had a great time tonight, but there's still time for you to give us a call at 1-800-245-9779 to show your support for Our Town Ebensburg and all the stories from your friends and neighbors.
I think my favorite segment was about the potato segment. I've been dreaming about French fries all evening now.
That's been a popular one.
That has been a popular one.
That was their favorite.
But remember that it's your support that make all the stories from Ebensburg and your community possible here on your local PBS station, WPSU. And we would love to thank everybody who's made the entire project possible and all the volunteers who are here in the studio. And thanks for calling. And we hope to be back for Ebensburg Part 3 someday.
We'll be there.
Thanks.
Night.
You can also make your pledge at WPSU.org. Click on Contribute at the top of the page. It's always available and easy to use. Thanks. This is WPSU Clearfield, an outreach service of Penn State.